Welcome to Gamers Without Borders. Watch, game, learn, and donate. Elimination on the line today. Who is going home from NA? I'm Jackie Jing, and I am not quite yet with Jesse and Jess, but they're going to be here in a second, right? Beep-boop, we're going to bring them in. But very, very excited about this NA action that we are about to see, and there they are. Perfect timing, Boo Boop.
Oh my God,
Perfect
I got
timing.
motion sickness. I'm not used to that fast. Bee-boop's got to slow it down for me. We're going to work on the speed of that next time, Bee-boop. I'll tell you what, because I'm going to need a little slow. I'm getting old now.
Okay, Bee-boop, you got to get it together for Jess there. But Jesse, I know we were chatting during the break about this. You're very excited. It's a rematch.
Yes, Leftovers versus Parabellum.
Hey, you gotta act more enthusiastic. I just amped that up to 10, and then you were like, yeah.
I didn't. All right, fine, Jackie. I'm mad excited because we got Leftovers versus Parabellum, and they played each other already. They played in the qualifier to get to this event, and Leftovers actually won. It was a big upset. They took down PB, and then Parabellum got the invite anyways. They shouldn't have qualified, but they were let in anyways because we had an extra spot. So they're now here in for the rematch. They wanted to prove that this was not just a pity invite. They deserve to be in that grand finals, and there's a reason why they're a tier 1 team.
Yeah, and Jess, we do have the bracket up right now, and it's been quite a journey for NA. So recap everyone at home.
I mean, look, the biggest thing is that possibly, there was no real shocks about, the Tier 1 teams both being knocked down to the lower bracket. It's just PB fighting out of there, as you heard from Jesse just before. Space Station, however, it's not without a hard fight. I'm going to tell you that much. None of these games have been easy in both Europe and North America. There's been some smashings in the Latin American region and whatnot, but at least in these two regions, the Tier 1 teams have, essentially had to fight tooth and nail to get some of these wins. And whilst the 2-0 might look dominant from Space Station, Leftovers are no pushovers. So there might be leftovers after dinner, but I tell you what, they're spicy ones, and I'm waiting to see what they got to show against PB, because rematch or not, I think there's a lot being learned in the past couple of days.
Spicy Leftovers, I love it. Yeah. All right, well, our teams are almost ready to go. Again, Leftovers versus Parabellum. So we're going to boot up the map bands, Bee-boop. Bring them up. Come on, let's get them going. Jesse.
What were the maps, Jesse? I want to know what the maps were when they last went head-to-head.
I'll tell you, Jess.
I don't have them on me.
Leftovers won the first map. It was Theme Park. Then Parabellum won on Villa. And then the decider was Chalet, which, of course, went the way for Leftovers. So definitely going to be looking for those maps to start us off. But Villa immediately banned out by Leftovers, and that's, of course, the map that PB won. So they don't want to try to go back to that. They already know that they're a weaker team on that map. They'll take it out of the pool. Bank going to be eliminated as well from Parabellum. Surprising, they have been big Bank fans in the past. They haven't won it a ton, but maybe, I guess, in recent times, not wanted a favorite. Skyscraper and Clubhouse then coming out next.
Have we seen Clubhouse together yet? I feel like I've not. I don't think I've seen any Clubhouse personally in any of my games. There's been no Clubhouse.
We saw it the last series.
I feel like I haven't.
I'm happy it's not coming back.
Never mind.
Jackie's got short-term memory loss,
the next
but that's okay.
last
All right,
series.
it happens.
Whoops, yeah. Okay, we got Chalet on the board and Kafe. Okay.
Chalet being the decider, so that's good.
And you said that went the way of Leftovers?
Yeah.
Okay. Not a surprise they pick it then. Cafes, Matt, we've seen so much in this tournament. I wonder what the preference is with Kafe. Is it just such a middle ground map? It's not hated by teams, but it's also not loved by teams, so it's such an easy one to pick as a predominant sort of, we can go there and know we can fundamental it. But I've seen a lot of Azami plays. That can't be things that are hidden. I've seen some things from SSG, for example, which I'm you would do that in Pro League. I know for a fact you would do that in Pro League. So they're not really hiding things either. So I don't know which way to look at it.
I mean, Parabellum did win this map against Space Station, which are a very strong opponent, so I can understand why they'd be confident on it. Then we see Border, Theme Park, and Oregon being our final map. This is one that Leftovers actually lost the other day, but it was 7-5 and it was against SSG, so I still feel like they've shown a lot of good stuff on Oregon. And then for Parabellum, they lost to SSG as well, came back, beat Gaming Gladiators yesterday. So a lot of history for these two teams on that decider map. A lot of odds to review. We'll see which of these teams did their homework if we get that far.
Okay, so we got Chalet, Kafe, Oregon locked in. Prediction time. Jess, what you thinking? Who's coming out on top here?
If I don't back my boy Butters, then I'm a traitor. And your girl is loyal. So I think I'm just going to have to put my vote behind, you know, the boys on Leftovers. Plus, they have the coolest name under the sun. So I feel like all
Great
of those
name.
reasons are absolutely logical, and none of them are biased whatsoever. So I'm going to go with Leftovers.
Okay,
All right.
Jesse, what you thinking?
I mean, I know Leftovers won last time, but Parabellum are a new roster, and I think they've really grown throughout these qualifiers. Blaz and Gunnar have been so good, especially in their most recent game against Gaming Gladiators, which they've had to play to get to the spot. So I'm feeling PB. I feel like they've improved since that last encounter, and with the deeper map pool, they might be the ones coming out on top here.
Okay, well, let's see how this ends up and go down to the Cyberpunk basement and join Ollie and Demo. Beep-boop, take it away. And a little slower for Jess, okay?
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much indeed. Jackie, Jesse, and Jess. We are going to be covering the second best of three here tonight from myself and Demo. We are, of course, going to be dealing with Leftovers versus Parabellum. Demo, you're looking very pensive, my friend. Is Demo good?
We're good. Some minor issues. My feed was just
frozen.
My feed was just it went down, but we're good. I'm here.
You're giving us like the real deep in thought, like, Leftovers versus Parabellum. Yes, I remember this one.
Yeah, it's just some minor issues. But no, yeah, Parabellum. I'm excited to see this team again. I think that they put up a really good fight against SSG. Both teams obviously losing to SSG, as we know that throughout the course of this competition. Which, are we surprised SSG are top dogs? No, of course we're not. It's SSG at the end of the day. But yeah, this Parabellum team, we're still figuring things out with this side. You know, we've seen glimpses of what the new players can prove in this side. For Leftovers, again, I think another solid team that we have to give a nod to and say that, you know, they can have a good chance here against Parabellum. I really don't know how this is going to go.
No, it's a difficult one to call, isn't it? I really don't think that it's very clear-cut at all. Leftovers, of course, we saw them play, and they gave less obstacle to Space Station. I think, you know, Parabellum on paper should be the team that take this one realistically. But as we know, anything can happen in Siege. It's all about whatever team turns up on the day. And, you know, through the looking at this through the lens of what it is, which is a charity event, you're never really too sure exactly what teams are going to be bringing. Are they going to be bringing their absolute A game? Are they going to be, you know, looking to play a little bit loose and fast and really enjoy themselves here? Or are they going to try and, you know, really militantly get this one over the line? So a little bit difficult one to call there, but I think for me, at least my money, it's got to back Parabellum.
Yeah, I think Parabellum, I think they've shown us a lot more in SSG, gave them a really good fight. I think you look at some of the players in Parabellum, Blaz and Gunnar were the two players that we had to look at. You know, we know the other three, they've been there for ages, but those two, that was the big question mark. Me and you had a suspicion what Blaz was going to be up to because his playstyle hasn't changed since he was in Europe. But it was more Gunnar who we wanted to look at and see how he would perform. You look at that Kafe game, I think against SSG is probably what we're going to be basing that a lot of, because that was their first map. That's the first time we've seen that new team gel together. And in terms of attacks, I think there's things that they certainly need to work on. I think the biggest thing that we took away was whenever Blaz is going in for his little crouch walk play to get you a guaranteed kill, if he dies, somebody needs to be there to trade off. I think that was the biggest issue. And I think Gunnar, I think he's shown that on the attack he was struggling. I think it was 1 and 6 in that first half on the attack. On defense is a different story, but on the attacks, that's where I want to see Parabellum improve today.
Yeah, it was a comment that we kind of called out quite a few times, wasn't it? Blaz is more than capable of getting himself in and playing that aggressive entry, picking up kills where he can, finding that little niche and chink in the armor to really start to exploit it. But on the flip side, was he playing too fast? Was his team playing too slow? That desync is something that will get smaller over time. Granted, this is, you know, a new transfer, so, you know, we're not expecting, you know, super duper levels of synergy like a team that's been together for 12 months or more, but you've got to really nip that in the bud quite early. You don't really want that to become a common trend or a consistent pattern that you see starting to develop. So that's certainly where I'll be keeping my eye here tonight. And then if you think on the side of Leftovers, you know, we think about their game that they played against SSG Demo, and whilst there was sort of glimmers there, again, it wasn't as fireworky as we would have kind of hoped. 7-4, 7-5. Oregon, there was a little bit of a chance, I felt. But SSG really just started working through the gears, and I don't really ever feel like we saw them at full throttle yesterday, but you better believe that Parabellum are going to be coming out and giving it to them tonight.
Yeah, I think both sides want to have that rematch with SSG, don't they? They want to say, you know, yes, we lost to SSG, but we know on another day, another given time, SSG are there for the taking. Whenever you look at SSG in a best of 5, though, that's a whole different story that will unload tomorrow. But for the meantime, both these sides wanting to get into that grand final, have that rematch against SSG, but they have to go through each other before we do that. I think you look at the entries is probably where it's going to be decided upon. I think if you looked at Leftovers, if they didn't get the opening kill, SSG just tore them apart. SSG were so patient. They played no set positions. It's all about the opening kill for Leftovers. If they don't get that, they really struggle to get that round going. Whenever they get it going, good. Very good strategies. You can see how they can flow throughout a map, how quick they can be whenever they need to be. But that all-important first kill is really the make or break, it seems to be, for Leftovers.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, you know, Leftovers do often find themselves in that position where if they fall behind, it very quickly becomes a big problem. Some of their speed on, you know, speed and pacing on attack was something that we questioned a little bit yesterday. You know, we think back to the maps that they were going to, and they tried to go back to Kafe. That's where SSG lost. That's where Parabellum were able to get one up on SSG. And you would have thought that Leftovers would be a slight bit more prepared for that. I was wholeheartedly expecting to see Kafe here tonight, and it's no real surprise that Parabellum have picked it map 2. That's entirely to be expected. And obviously Leftovers, they took Chalet as map number 1, which realistically means that we could be looking at all 3 here. If Leftovers come out with a very solid Chalet, then we might be looking toward Oregon for a bit of a decider, which, I mean, realistically, I don't believe that it favours either one or another. I think they're going into that fairly equal. Parabellum have had some success on Oregon here inside of Gamers Without Borders. They did lose it to SSG, but they were able to pick up the win over Gaming Gladiators. So both teams having a little bit of Oregon experience there as well. We know Leftovers played there yesterday against SSG. Chalet is an interesting one. I'm just flicking back and looking through previous results, just in Gamers Without Borders specifically. And we see that Leftovers did play Gaming Gladiators on Chalet. It was a game that they managed to win, but it did go all the way into an overtime demo.
Yeah, so you can see that Leftovers, if we're kind of comparing how they did against the same teams that Parabellum have also went through, Parabellum have looked to be your stronger side. So I think that's one thing that you have to keep in mind. Obviously, we're going to favor Parabellum. They are the NAL side. It's not as if there's no disrespect or anything that we're going after Leftovers, but there is a gap. Yes, we know they have some experience on Leftovers with players who have also played in NAL, but they also have new players who are only just starting, you know, out their Siege career, going into Challenger League. And as we know, there is obviously always going to be a gap between Challenger League sides and also NAL sides. And keep in mind, Challenger League hasn't even, you know, really got off to the races yet. You know, we're still figuring things out over there in NA to see who's going to be the next up. For a long time, it was Parabellum, remember? Whenever we looked at towards last year, Ollie, we seen them at Invitational 21. We said, okay, they're a shoe-in to make it into NAL. To be fair, we said same about Makers, who, you know, that didn't hold up their end of the bargain, you know, the EU counterpart. But yeah, I think if Leftovers could have that same trend, that same trajectory that Parabellum have had, then who knows where they could be in a couple of months.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about. You know, I like to see these teams that make roster changes, get some real young blood into the side, and start to cause a little bit of a ruckus straight from the off. That's exactly, for me, what it's all about. I want to see these teams, you know, make changes, come in with fresh and new ideas. And that's what I look at that Parabellum side and see. And it's a very similar flair to what I see when I look at a team like Exet. You know, Exet is that sort of young, aggressive team. They've just done really well at a major, considering how long they've been together and how long they've been playing for. So you look and you think, yeah, there are opportunities for up-and-comers here.
Yeah, I think this is where you can really showcase what you're capable of. I'm sure everyone will be watching, obviously, Parabellum, the sides in NAL. Do you want to really see what these two new players are bringing to the table? And I think straight away you can figure out that they might be a little bit slippy. Obviously, topic Blaz in that scenario. I can't wait to see how NA deal with Blaz. I can't wait.
I can't either.
Some of the stuff he pulls off, like you'd never do it, but he does do it. You have that thing in the back of your head where nobody can be that stupid. Blaz is. He'll do it, and it works. It works for him. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how Parabellum does in NA.
I mean, our sleep schedule is going to be perfect for it by the time that we're done as well.
Oh my goodness, don't even get started.
It's going to be ideal for an NA time zone. We're going to not miss a game. I do believe that the lobby is nearly ready. I think we've just had a couple of problems getting some of the players in, but as soon as it is ready and waiting, we will be heading on through. Of course, we're going to perform all the checks and make sure that everybody is in before we get that game started. We aren't just holding off pressing that caster go button. Say that, Demo, did you press it?
I didn't press the button.
Did you not press the button? Maybe it was me.
No, it's like, so obviously if Jackie was here, Jackie would say, oh, it's this imaginary friend who's done something. There's a person who presses the button for us, and they're a real person. They live in a house. They eat food. It's not like a robot who's not real. That's who pressed the button.
I'm not sure if I can believe that. It sounds far-fetched.
Wake up.
It sounds too far-fetched.
Anywho, are we surprised by the ban? Of course we're not. Fatch, you're gone. Yeah, it's like an 80% ban rate at the moment, I think, in the NA department in this tournament so far. Who's going to follow? Flores, another common ban that's really starting to take the meta by storm, Ollie. We've seen this operator be banned about 60% of the time inside of games.
Teams really not wanting to deal with the Flores, or what the Flores can deal with, maybe is a better way of putting it. We all know that Flores is a utility burn machine, has the Rotero drones, and can remove various bulletproof items, whether that be a shield, a camera, or even just clearing out things like ADSs and magnets. You're not susceptible to those things exploding drone, so you can really get away with quite a lot. Aruni, Mirror, going to round out the defender bans here. So we do have that slight balance. Typically, if you see the Flores removed, you're going to expect to see a Wamai or an Aruni moved in instead. Is Aruni enough for a full ban? That would maybe be one of my questions. I think Chalet is certainly a map that you can get a lot of value out of an operator like Aruni. But with the full ban coming through, it leaves you open to something like a Valkyrie. We've got a Zami as well now that we've got to contend with. A lot of options for the defense.
I always see Aruni as a soft replacement to a Wamai or a Jaeger. That's how I see her. Whenever Aruni's banned, surely Wamai's just gonna be chosen then. No? Just me?
Surely.
Like, that's just why I look at it. I think Aruni is good, but I don't think she's that good to warrant the ban. Unless there's a specific team who's crutching that operator and there's a target ban. I don't know. Sure, it's nice as well, I think, to have some form of soft destruction, help site set up if you need to, but during this meta, when are we not seeing at least a mute or a smoke? I just don't think it warrants it. I think there's stronger operators.
I think there's a lot of stronger operators that you can choose to ban.
Kaid's another one.
Yeah, especially when you're starting off on the attack, you just remove absolutely anything. The game was played long before Aruni entered. And sure, changes are good for the meta in the sense that it gets people thinking about the game in a different way, and you can think about different interactions in a different way. But yeah, a little bit soft. Certainly not going to have the value that you could have got elsewhere. For the time being, we'll have to see if Parabellum do choose to exploit that and bring things like a Valkyrie or try and gather a little bit more information. We've certainly not tripled down on the burn like they could have done. They could have brought the Wamai in conjunction with the Jaeger. But instead, they're going fairly soft. Now, already, Blaz has made his way outside. We saw the flash on the screen for a couple of seconds. almost in perfect synchrony with the first kill coming in. Filthy, it's going to be removed. I can only imagine that Blaz jumped himself out of library demo.
Yeah, it seems to be that case. A hatch will be opened up. Sometimes that's left open, but it will be reinforced this time by Parabellum. So obviously with that man down, you have to really think about what you want to commit to. You don't have that extra man who you could send maybe down blue, down the main stairs, in through lobby ollie. You now have to put all your eggs in the one basket. Oh, that is a bad peek from Kool-Aid. Was there a need? Definitely not, but he gives himself up, and that man advantage that Parabellum had done what Blaz had done to get back. It's now gone.
Certainly not ideal. Kool-Aid just getting a little bit too aggressive. Kool-Aid was someone that struggled as well when Parabellum played against SSG. Great bit of information there from Butters. He doesn't need telling twice. A yellow ping comes through the wall and he dumps half a mag onto it. Adapt. Uses some flashes. Is able to cross wine cellar door. Starts now, maybe put a little bit of pressure on. It's a thermic charge. Will go off. Gunner going to be waiting just behind the deployable shield. First one is going to be a clone. And his army's keeper's there to block up that hole. What a great use of this Azami. Especially when the breaches are so pressured. And a lot of angles can be found here. You've got someone playing behind a deployable shield. You change the shape of that breach a little bit. Makes things entirely different.
Yeah, it was a great pick, and now that puts into a 3 versus 3. That shield is still going to be up. They needed to get an 8 in. A great swing from Penguin Adapt. Hits the floor. Maxley tries to swing in, but that shield ollie. Parabellum, they needed to target that with everything that they had. But they just couldn't burn through the double ADSs. Didn't have enough. And Parabellum, it was, Blaz obviously doing well to get the opening pick, but then some serious over peaks by Parabellum. They just made it difficult for themselves, but they end up with the round win. But still a couple of issues there for Parabellum they need to look at.
That opening pick was more important than Blaz ever realized at the time as well, because you think about who he took out. He took out Filthy on Sledge with full utility. You've got both nades, you're dealing with an Azami, you're going to want that sledgehammer for things. You're also going to really want those nades for things like destroying bulletproof shields. You do not want to catch yourself with a player in that position behind a deployable with 2 ADSs that you can't deal with. You need every throwable you can muster to try and deal with that. And they didn't have it. They were caught a little bit short. Parabellum managed to pick up round number 1. We're going to rotate things through into the kitchen. We almost didn't really get onto it, Demo, but the basement as a first pick site, it isn't typically the norm. Parabellum have made it work there. Obviously, with Attacker 6-pick now and the repick system, you're never going to catch somebody out entirely. You're never going to catch a team off guard because they can just change their entire approach. You can even swap between, if someone's on the Finker and you're on the Hibana and you want to switch around, you can do that. So it's not entirely plausible to suggest that, leftovers just weren't expecting to go to basement. But still, it isn't exactly a first choice site. However, they picked the round up there, made it nice and easy for themselves. They can now look to make a bit of a rotation here on Chalet.
I like the pulse pickup. I think that's going to be solid for a good bit of information. It gives you that early information to see if teams are committing to a solar-sided take, or obviously the other side towards library. And whenever you have a good amount, 2 C4s is usually the norm. Gives you an opportunity to maybe snag a kill or 2 if you're lucky enough, if you go fishing. And whenever you see that kind of meme where it's you've caught a fish and then you threw that fish in to catch a bigger fish.
2 fish.
2 fish or 1. That could happen.
Dexter going to be looking to make quite the lateral approach here. He's inside a bar right now, seeing if he can catch anybody on the cutoff. Parabellum have done the typical extension where you look to take control of as much top floor as possible. Cade could look to start slowing things down here as well, as it's going to force out a little bit of burn. C4 does come through the top of the breach, along with a second, I think, and the nade fired on out.
We didn't get it. Kagclaw must be above.
Though.
Has to be above. Is it above? It is above. It's inside of. It's inside of office. It's inside of office.
In office, yeah. I think he's actually in office. Filthy's going to have to try and get in to deal with this. But by doing so, you're pretty much going to take top floor control. He has now been allowed to walk in. And he too will find this Electroclaw. Hammer to the floor will do the job. And now the wall can get open. But that's 2 nades and a lot of time that's been spent there. Filthy going to find himself 1. Picks up onto Butters as well as Blaz will fall. Butters charging through these defenders. Currently on 2 kills. Kool-Aid left in the clutches. Is it going to be the window or is it going to be the stairs? Or are the 2 players going to line up? Almost half HP as the plant is attempted. Flawless round from Leftovers. They had to scrape and scramble for everything there.
I think that was more down to Parabellum. Upstairs, the players inside a bedroom, they were surprised that attackers would come in above. That's what it felt like. How are you letting that happen? You know you have the Electro Claws. Does Gunner need to swing there? Probably not. I also think Butters needs to be commended. He came in with a bit of a solo play, up in through West Main, won a very strong engagement against Blaz. And then from there, you start to alleviate pressure, and then you start to really make things crash and burn for Parabellum. They start looking all these different directions, and where do you go from there? You're getting shot from about 20 different angles. Not much you can do. So yeah, Parabellum, I think, need to have a tighter grip in that top floor. And again, Blaz, somebody needs to be with him, it feels like. And too many times I've seen Blaz get killed and nobody's there for his raid.
We've also seen an entirely different side of Butters here tonight. He didn't have the pop-off game against SSG. There were moments, but overall he was a little bit quiet. Already he's picked up a couple of really important kills here. The 2 in the previous round being the most important. If you can send someone in and pick up 2 kills that doesn't then get traded, that's massive, especially in and around the minute mark. Continues to pop off like this, it could be a little bit of a problem. It's going to switch on to the IQ for this round. Pulse is still being brought by Esker, so you can gather that early info and hopefully make good on one of those C4s. The util usage wasn't fantastic from Parabellum. They were hell-bent on trying to get either the Iana or the Thermite in the previous round with C4s over the top of the breach, or over the top of the reinforced wall, should I say. It wasn't quite a breach at that point. And both of the C4s just missed. I think one of them did get caught on the frame as well, so not the most ideal. Let's see if they choose a similar tact here. There's a much more clear focus on this top floor now here from Leftovers. Instead of just trying to brute force the way in downstairs, they're making it nice and easy for them to take that top floor. Filthy, going to be looking to try and play through. Going to be on new balcony. Nice little angle there. Nade comes through again. Doesn't get the Electroclaw, but it is going to pick up a kill. Dexter in position to shut Gunner down. Butters still looking to exploit this angle from Car Garage. Maxley going to be out there on the balcony. The second nade comes through. They do have a ping onto the Electroclaw this time. He can't get the Electroclaw, but he can keep getting kills. Esker going to be the next player to fall. 2 nades and 2 kills is fantastic utility usage. Dexter, he'll be thrilled with that one.
Will be indeed. I mean, Esker not having the greatest game so far. 0-3 is where he falls right now. Blaz has got 1 kill back, but Maxley still keeps his team with that 2-man buffer zone. Blaz also rotates upstairs, trying his best to get another kill back, but immediately being shut down. He has to go back down the stairs now. Fires out a smoke grenade. Kool-Aid does find Filthy, and maybe there's a bit of a bite. Certainly there is. Kool-Aid finds the top of the noggin. Down goes the Thermite. Now it will be a 2 versus 2. I say that, 2 versus 1 as Dexter has found Blaz. Kool-Aid has to clutch. Has to make this happen. It will be 4 kills in the round if he does that for himself. Diffuser is cold. This is good from Leftovers, taking the time, using the Gemini clone, sends it in, trying to figure out where Kool-Aid is going to be positioned. He will spot him out inside of West Main. Now they need to try and pick up the diffuser. Almost has the snap, but Maxley is ready for it. That was good stuff from Leftovers, taking the time to find out where that remaining player is and use that information to swiftly finish him off.
Close round there. Kool-Aid giving it as much as he could. Leftovers, night and day difference in the push there for me. Really coming up against quite a lot of obstacle to get rid of those Electroclaws. It's not something that's coming to them too easily. Dexter couldn't get the Electroclaw for getting kills. All he's trying to do is remove utility here, and he picks himself up too. Unbelievable stuff there from him. It's one of those situations where you're like, right, I'm going to get the Electroclaw. Where is it? Right, I've pinged it. Okay, nade gets sent through. Oh, well, I got a kill. Well, it's all right. The Electroclaw's still there. You need to send another in. Do the same, like, literally batting him away.
Yep. A lot of nades today.
Why Parabellum are there?
Yeah, Parabellum losing 2 rounds in a row. Keep in mind, I would say Chalet is favored for the attacks. So there is that going for Parabellum, but I still think they need a bit more than what they're displaying at the moment. Dexter, who I thought played excellent the last time we seen him here. And he's just continuing that trend. You mentioned earlier, Butters is getting stuck in. Leftovers, just, yeah, everyone really starting to get in there.
Certainly bodes well for Leftovers if they can pick up a couple of rounds here on this attacking half. Especially if they can continue to do so. I think one thing that we've seen, Demo, has been a trend in all the games that we've covered so far is the late use of a timeout. Now, I'm not suggesting Parabellum want to be using a timeout right now. But I would like to see it used before it's too late, if it does start to become a consistent problem. Although with an opening kill as a C4 onto the star player in the previous round, you've got to be feeling fairly good about yourself there. Valkyrie being brought is almost certainly responsible for that information.
Yep, Eska finally gets his first kill. Let's see if he can add any more onto that tally. So once again, you see a similar situation for Leftovers where they're on this basement attack and they've lost a player very early on. Parabellum did give them a chance to get their foot back into the door. But I don't think Parabellum will give them it this time. I think if Parabellum just now kind of sit, do, very similar attitude to what we've seen SSG do in the past, or if they have that opening pick, it's just come back to site, don't move, don't give them anything, that would work a lot better. Oh, but they've done the opposite of that. They went for a swing, and Filthy has found a kill.
Careless stuff, really, when you can't continually trade that advantage. And it's a comment we made about both of these two teams, is that their ability to trade just wasn't quite there. That means that if you do get an opening advantage, you need to try and keep hold of it. Skeleton Key now is going to start to rip open this floor and make it very difficult to play down below. Kool-Aid is going to feel that difficulty head on as Filthy picks himself up another. Maxley looking to try and remove the utility that's going to be placed on that wall. It's full white flashed in the process by his teammate, but it isn't going to cause too much of a problem, especially when Filthy is just given free reign inside of main lobby, and he can cause as much damage as he likes. Penguin, what a great shot onto Maxley. That's going to do something to alleviate the pressure, but Adapt is going to find himself one onto Gunner, and there's nothing that Penguin's going to be able to do about that one. Slowly, the net will tighten as the players from Leftovers continue to circle onto him, and it's going to be Butters to pick up that final frag. Leftovers, another fantastic attack there, not letting them play into that deployable shield, just saying, look, you did it last time. You got to learn some new tricks.
Yeah, sending somebody to another side of the map, I think, works really well for them. It just puts more pressure onto the remaining players. I just feel, again, that Parabellum do so well to get that pick, and then they just start overpicking for absolutely no reason. Just too much. Too much.
Well, you are nothing if you're not a traditionalist, Demo. You like your siege nice and traditional.
It's weird that
the tradition.
because I'm very traditional with siege. But then again, you know, you look at FaZe. How does that happen?
10 seconds to insertion.
What's wrong with
What
me?
do you mean, how's that happen?
Like, if I'm a traditionalist, do you think FaZe is a traditional team?
I think that FaZe are the team that's turned your eye. Like, you typically like traditional teams, but there's always that one team that you just have like a affinity for.
Does anyone else fit in that category?
For you,
Yeah.
I can't think of another team, no. I think all the other teams that you like play like the Plowman's Siege.
The who now?
Plowman's.
Who is Plowman?
Plowman's not a man, Plowman's is a sandwich or a meal.
That's a very bad superhero name. Plowman. Well, so is he only working in winter?
It's not as good as the under.
There's the roads.
What was it? The Underhill?
The Underminer.
Underminer. Not as
The
good as
Underminer.
from yesterday.
Ugh, bit of a downgrade. So, straight in. Into the action. Leftovers wasting no time securing their beachhead. Into library they will head to. Also are going to be targeting the players inside of kitchen and dining only. They've opened up that double wall. Leads into lobby. And now that does give them a bit of space, a bit of maneuverability, and to start trying to hunt these players from below. Keep in mind that the default plant position you would like to get yourself into as a Thermite, as Adapt in this scenario, you can be C4'd from below. And if you give the defenders that access to below, they will punish you for trying to go for those plants.
It's always frustrating when an ally gets sent outside as an attacker. You never really know if you're going to get swung upon, if someone's just going to fly out of a window. Dexter
By attack.
being covered there by his teammate Maxley. Going to find himself a great kill there onto Penguin. You've got to think that he's drawn that one himself. Flicks out of the drone and immediately locks on to fall the opposite direction, however. Kool-Aid having a standout game so far. The plant is now being attempted. Adapt is going to look to try and get that down, and there's not a lot really that we can see Parabellum able to do about it. A couple of shots do get put in, but it's all a bit too little too late. Butters with the crouch walk, likely going to find himself something here. Gives the game away with a bit of a pre-fire. It's going to be a scrappy engagement, and Gunner doesn't know which way to turn. An opponent on either front needs to take a challenge, needs to single them out. Will be a 1-for-1 trade, but it will not matter with an attacker still remaining alive and a planted diffuser ticking down. That's another one to be going over to leftovers.
Yeah, certainly. You have to commend Filthy. Just orchestrating that attack with the coverage with that LMG. Really had to win his engagements because it wasn't looking good for a period there from Leftovers. Sure, they got the plant down, but then you have to look at the kind of post plans, the 2 versus 3. It wasn't looking good for them. And yeah, I think Filthy just got stuck in, held it, fell back to a safer position. Parabellum, just some of these kills are getting caught out in. It's just a bit questionable. Who was it? I think it was Penguin who got first blooded there. Just beside the double window, an angle that you know you can get killed from if someone's on that piano window. Common knowledge. And yeah, Parabellum, just these kills that shouldn't be happening. They're happening.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, rookie mistakes is what springs to mind. Potential for a 5-1 split here for leftovers as well, which would just be fantastic. Puts them in such a key driving position. And you know what, Demo? I don't believe that it's the Aruni ban that's really doing this to Parabellum. I understand that teams play a lot of Aruni, but realistically, it shouldn't come at the detriment to, you know, a potential 5-1 split. That shouldn't be, oh, we've not got Aruni, we're going to lose the majority of our defensive rounds now. Got to come up with something else and see if they can try and salvage this here before it just goes a little bit too far. 2-4 wouldn't be the end of the world, and it's the best that they can hope for at this point. Another weird one is that we haven't even seen Bar and Gaming until now.
Another good point.
That's the site that you would expect. Yeah, we'll play this site as, you know, second choice.
Yeah, Chalet is very flexible in that regard, where all 4 bomb sites are certainly viable. But yeah, strange to see the Baron stock only come out now. One thing I will say about the Bar defense, maybe why it's not as favored, is I think teams have been... It's really, really easy to adapt to the utility that the defender set up. There isn't really anything that's going to catch you by surprise, and I think utility's very easy to toss in and clear out blue stairs, you know, with ease. It's not really too many issues. I also think repels come into a bigger part, as demonstrated by Filthy. Again, what's Blaz... What's he going for there? What's his thought process to do that? What's he doing?
Filthy's been finding some fantastic openings as well. 8 and 2 at the minute. Good bit of info there gathered by Dexter. The castle barricade will be removed.
Here's utility. It's easy.
Still in a great spot. Dexter again.
There you go.
Swings on through. Max with the nade kill. The shield now removed. Nobody able to play on those library stairs safely anymore. It's going to be another flawless demo. It's all down to Kool-Aid. This defense has just been torn apart limb from limb. 35 seconds left. Plenty of time to figure this one out. Kool-Aid knows that there's going to be somebody on the stairs, but it's a horrible angle to challenge onto. Draws for the shotgun, but it's not going to be enough. Adapt. Puts him out of his misery there and secures a 5-1 split here on Chalet.
It's a very dominant half, it has to be said. Impressive. Very impressive. Yeah, just what's he up to? Plaza's the Wamai as well. I've mentioned that utility's very easy to burn on that defense anyway. And then you're throwing the Wamai away so early on?
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by
Yeah,
attackers.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we switch sides. Leftovers, they're going to take us downstairs straight away as well. Azami could be a big part of this basement being a little bit more popular. There's some particularly nasty placements for the Kiba. You can obviously block off the drone hole into garage. You can place an Azami inside of blue, which actually debilitates you from getting down the stairs. You have to destroy it before you can, and you've just got a horrible line of sight where they can see from your waist down, and you've just got no idea what's on the other side. So there are some really nice little placements. It wasn't enough to stop leftovers, though. They were more than happy to take rounds down here. Granted, it's one of the only side, well, it is the only side that they actually lost an attack onto. But it just feels as though leftovers are playing a totally different game at the minute, Demo.
Yeah, it does feel like that. It does feel like that. When you look at Parabellum, you know, we highlighted Gunner and we highlighted Blaz. Either have not really taken to the same heights as what we've seen them do against SSG, where almost the opposite has kind of happened in many regards to Leftover. I'd say probably apart from Dexter, who we knew had a good showing against SSG. Everyone else from Leftovers is really stepping up, and it.
I did just lose you there for a second, Demo. Are you still there?
I think I'm here.
Yeah, I can hear you now. You just sort of cut off mid-flow.
It's just there's a little lag on my end. I'm just
having a connection issue.
Just some issues.
Some late-night maintenance, potentially.
Maybe.
Let's see how Parabellum choose to approach this. They've got the hatch open inside a dining. They're able to throw a couple of nades down, deal with some of that utility. There's still going to be a couple of electroclaws to get rid of here. It's a disgusting setup there with the Gemini clone and concrete barrier. You just know that that's just free information. And better yet, you can sit in that yourself.
You have to waste a nade in that, by the way.
You've got to deal with it. You can't afford to have something like that the defenders can just spring up from behind at a moment's notice. We are going to see the wall opened. Further burn has to come through now.
Mystic
Need
Eye
to
Claw.
try and deal with the Cade Claw, but it doesn't actually go off. And there's more Kibas in pocket.
Aids.
Great big breach open here and a push and a flood on through. Kool-Aid going to try and get the plant down in and amongst this chaos. His teammate covering him well, but not well enough. Filthy with the swing. Picks one up with the SMG and one with the Nitro. Dexter, he's going to collect the last as they drop through the hatch and almost into his lap.
Wow, what a performance from Leftovers. A great retake. Filthy. Whew. What a game from him right now. Top tier stuff. You know, let them go for that plant. They know they have the denial. They have the C4s in the back pockets. Filthy has only died 2 times, Ollie. Only 2 times.
It's impressive. We've seen 7 rounds. We're going into round number 8 here. Incredibly impressive. I mean, he started off on attack very strong. I think inside of the first round, Filthy got kind of run out on by Blaz. He was playing the sledge. They were attacking into basement. Blaz jumps out of library and kills Filthy. And it's almost as if from that moment on, he was just like, nope, not tonight, not today. I am not having one of those games where I just enter the server and everything doesn't go my way and I get hit by every piece of bad timing there is. He's just flipped it on a switch and gone, no, I'm the bad guy tonight. 11-2, pretty much unstoppable. Leftovers, match point already. We could be about to see our second map a lot sooner than we initially thought, Demo.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see such a one-sided performance, especially whenever we pitched Parabellum to kind of be the favorites. Of course, we knew that if Leftovers rock up today and they've been able to get some of their players, you know, really hitting the mark, it could be a completely different game, and that's what's happened for them. Leftovers have stepped up. It's an entire team difference right now. It's been very, very strong performance. So Parabellum, five rounds in a row. That is not easy to do. And whenever the pressure, I think, is starting to get to Parabellum, who can you highlight from Parabellum, Ollie? Not a single player has passed 4 kills.
And that's the big difference, isn't it? You know, we gave Parabellum the benefit of the doubt going into this one, but we also preferenced it and caveated it by saying it's going to be about who shows up on the night. And so far, Leftovers have really shown up. Parabellum, they're nowhere to be seen. No one's standing out for kills. We've had a little bit of flash here and there. And it runs even deeper on the side of Leftovers, because whilst Filthy's had a good game, Dexter was phenomenal on the attack.
Reloading.
First trades come in. Still even at the moment, so Blaz goes down. And again, nobody's there for the refrag, Ollie. Another issue that I had was if Blaz is dying, somebody needs to follow up with a kill. If he's traded his life, you need to get a kill back for him. Dexter under a lot of pressure, walls starting to be opened up for him, not hitting real area that he can sit that would be safe. Gunner, oh, lets the man run across. Butters finds one. Penguin falls, and there's another one. Adapt onto Gunner. A 4 versus 2 now. Great stuff from Leftovers. Parabellum, don't know which way to look. Dexter still fighting, this time from Piano. I mean, top blue isn't even cleared, Ollie. Filthy, what was he thinking? He goes for a swing underneath the hatch. Eska, he gets one back, but really at what cost? Still a minute to go, 2 versus 3, and I think Leftovers still, with all the utility that they have, that top blue shield is still up and alive. Where do Parabellum go?
There's really got to be no way in here. Eska's got 1 nade to try and work with. He can play a little bit of vert and look to give Kool-Aid a bit of a path into sight, but even still, if a plant is to go down, it's going to need holding. Nade can go down, but nothing will come of it. Dexter has had other minds. He was just going to take the fight straight up there. Picks up the final 2. No better way, in my opinion, to finish that off. Dexter, fantastic performance along with Filthy and along with the whole side of Leftovers. We have blinked and missed Chalet, Demo. Already, Leftovers 1 up in the series.
Whew, wasn't expecting that. 7-1, it's as clear-cut as it can get. I mean, 7-0 obviously would be a lot more clearer, but 7-1 is equally just as good.
Not bad.
Yeah, Leftovers, complete team def. I don't know if you can pick the best player at Parabellum. I don't think you can do that right now. Nobody stepped up to the plate. Nobody stepped up to the mark. And because of that, they didn't win the game. That's just it. Parabellum got, what, the first round? And that was it. That 7 in a row.
Good. I'll be honest, it looked good. Parabellum played behind the deployable shield. They were able to get an opening kill. And you looked at that and you got, Parabellum are here for a good bit of siege. And slowly but surely, one round turns into two for Leftovers. And it just seems as though Parabellum are getting beaten at every single turn. Leftovers' synergy on the attack for me was something that really stood out. Their ability to deal and use their own utility was fantastic. Now, we commented on the Aruni ban at the start of things. I don't think it played that big a difference into it. I would imagine that Parabellum would have brought the Aruni had it been available. But realistically, Leftovers there for me. Entirely better. Leaps and bounds. Parabellum really need to wake up before they go into map number 2.
Yeah, they need to do something. This is where momentum can really start to spiral out of control. Parabellum, they need somebody. They need coaches in there. Start waking these boys up. Get them under the coffee drip. Start smelling the coffee. Wake up, boys. You need to get stuck back in there because Leftovers, like we mentioned, Leftovers whenever they played against SSG, Ollie, no pressure. Not a single bit of pressure. These guys are here to play some Siege.
Absolutely. I mean, Demo there, you speak about the coffee drip. I feel like I need to get myself under that as well. Certainly ready for another cup at this point. But we've got loads more Siege here coming. At least guaranteed to be going to one more map. That map, of course, will be Kafe. You think about Kafe as a map and you look and you think, yeah, Parabellum did pretty well in there against SSG. By no means was it a stomp. It was an all-out war. But they were able to get a victory over there. Are they going to be able to find that same footing again? Because they need a real big wake-up call here. Hit that mental reset button. Deal with Chalet on another day. VOD review it, whatever you want to do, but not tonight. Not at this moment. They need to be getting themselves in the right headspace for that next map.
Yeah, and we'll see how the next map rolls in. We still have a break to go before then. Hopefully Des will be back to break it down for you as we'll be back in just a few.
जब चढ़ाई में चलो चढ़ने में तो इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती, तो थोड़ा सी बर्फ़ में यहाँ पे आंगन में ही थोड़ा सा पैर फ्रैक्चर हो गया था। मेरा नाम सीमा ठाकुर है, मैं हाउसवाइफ हूँ। वैक्सीन लगवाने के लिए हमें टूटू जाना पड़ता है, नहीं तो नहीं आयुर्वेदिक वो भी है ऊपर। बच्चों के साथ आधा घंटा लग जाता है। गिरब में जो है डिस्पेंसरी, उसके लिए आधा घंटा लग जाता है। जो टूटू जाना हो तो टूटू जाने में पौना घंटा बच्चों के साथ लग जाता है और पैदल जाना पड़ता है। बारिश बर्फ़ में तो बहुत मुश्किलें होती है, क्योंकि बच्चों के साथ आना जाना बहुत दिक्कत होती है।
मेरा नाम कृष्ण लाल है जी, और मैं स्वास्थ्य विभाग में, क्योंकि कुछ साल पहले ऐसा होता था कि गांव में पता ही नहीं चलता था लोगों को कि क्या है, कोई पोलियो है कि कोई जानता नहीं था। अब जब सरकार ने इसके लिए इस तरीके के अभियान छेड़े हैं, जब तक हमारे को पूरा कंफर्म नहीं होगा कि इस बच्चे ने यहाँ पे दवाई नहीं पी या पिलाई या नहीं पिलाई, चले जाओ आप दूर दराज के क्षेत्र में चले जाओ, तो हमारे को कोई ऐसा केस या ऐसा कोई बच्चा, अगर यहाँ बच्चा आ गया तो हमने यहाँ पिलानी, किसी कारणवश अगर बच्चा हो जाता, गांव में लोग रहते, क्या पता क्या मजबूरी है उसको, क्यों नहीं आया बच्चा, क्या पता वो बीमार है या कोई उसको कोई और प्रॉब्लम है। तो हमारा ये है कि भी हमारे पास पूरी वो होती है लिस्ट बनी हुई ना, कि हमारा अब लोकल जी में तो पता ही होता है सबको कि फलानी जगह बच्चा फलानी जगह, तो हमारे पूरा पता है कि फलाना बच्चा फलानी जगह से नहीं आया। वो तो हम क्या करते हैं, जैसे 4 बजे तक आज हम दवाई पिलाएंगे तो नेक्स्ट डे उसको घर में जाके दवाई पिला। वही जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि भी ऐसा नहीं होता कि भी उसको उस सुविधा से वंचित रहना पड़ेगा।
Welcome back, everyone. It is Jackie Jing and Jess E. And I'm going to be real. Yesterday, I think I saw my first 7-0 in a while, and this was another really rough stomping, 7-1. Leftovers just domination station there. Filthy went Nuki, as Jess likes to say, Jesse. Nuki.
Yeah, my Parabellum prediction looking a little rough right now. I'm hoping they can bounce back in map 2, but really, this was a great game from Leftovers. They were always in the right spot. It felt like they just knew how to attack Chalet. They were taking the right bits of map control prior to executing onto the site, right? If they were attacking onto Wine, they'd get into Kitchen beforehand. If they were attacking the top floor, they'd get control of Library. And so it's very step by step. I do think Parabellum maybe could have thrown a few more obstacles in their way. But nonetheless, it felt like they had a great time. Filthy, as you mentioned, top frag on the server, I do believe. His vertical play this game was fantastic. A lot of those soft floors on the sites that PB were defending, and he really took advantage of that. I thought Dexter as well had a fantastic game. Landed some really great nades. Couldn't always find the Electric Claw, but sometimes he just found the kills instead.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't even really matter if the electricals weren't found either, which I thought, you know, we love to talk about PB and everything, and we were talking about Filthy getting all of those verticals. I think it's important to note that the reason he was able to go as nukey, as I like to reference there, was probably because PB was forcing one of the worst sites statistically on the map. Not my preference, just statistically overall, the bottom floor is a death trap for defenders 9 times out of 10, ever since it's been added to the competitive map pool. So, honestly, the fact that they were forcing it, Jesse and I have theorized is a little odd. Not sure if they're trying to put something out there into the atmosphere and, you know, maybe cause a little bit confusion to the other, you know, teams in their region, but we'll see into the future. But for now, I think that's something that they put the nail in their own coffin at that point. And shout out to Leftovers for taking full advantage of that and going, they're going to the worst site. We have every tool we need. There's attacker repick now, so if we have to take the soft breach, if we need extra, you know, wall breaching ability, we can bring that whenever we want. And I thought they did really, really well on that.
Yeah, Leftovers looking. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. It's just like a 7-1 is so tough because, like, sure, you're starting on defense on Chalet, right? And this is not a map that you expect to win a lot of defensive rounds on. There are not a lot of great sites on this map. But when you're going to wind twice, you're going to, you know, master up on the top floor before you even try games. Didn't come out till round 6 did they try the games. And I think at that point, you know, they were already kind of out of it. They were making some really bad swings, and it did feel like the momentum was all the way for Leftovers. So I really do think that, like, sure, they started on defense on attacker side of the map, but it had to be so much better of a first half than what they had.
Okay, so our teams are ready for map 2 Kafe. So really quickly, that is Parabellum's pick. Do they bounce back here, Jess? Really fast. What are you thinking predictions-wise for map 2?
Still got to stick with my boy Butters. I definitely think that they've got an opportunity to take this momentum and run with it.
Jesse?
Yeah, I'm probably okay. They did beat SSG on this map. I'm gonna take them. I think they push this to 3.
Okay, well, we shall see. Ollie and Demo, take it away. Off to the Cyberpunk basement we go. Boop. Take us there.
Jackie, Jesse, thank you all very, very much indeed. We're ready, Demo, to get stuck into our second map here in our best of 3, Leftovers versus Parabellum. The winner, of course, will book themselves a place with Space Station in the finals tomorrow. Demo, what are you thinking?
It's all Parabellum right now. That's who it comes down to. They've been slaughtered on Chalet. They need to wake up. They need to do something now, or this could be it. Leftovers are gonna be up for this. They're ready for it. Everyone has had a word to say on Leftovers. It's all pressure on Parabellum. It has to be.
Let's see. Nook ban Demo. What is going on here? Harry Demo Dempster?
Target ban, perhaps?
Leaving me hanging?
Target ban?
A little TB? Flores. The age-old. So, Flores removed again. It's a serious propensity for NA teams to ban Flores out. Not getting removed, though. Like, this is Kafe. I understand that you don't need to take away Thatcher. But there's other things that you can look to try and remove and deal with. I'm trying to cast my mind back to any serious Nook players from Parabellum. I know that Blaz dabbled a little bit when we saw them play this map against Space Station. But I don't feel like it was that decisive. It was, in fact, an SSG ban. So potentially Parabellum are a little bit known for this Nook play, and they just don't want to take any chances. What's the secret, Demo? What are we not understanding?
I mean, there isn't much really to go into, I don't think. I don't think there is.
But for two teams to ban Nook against Parabellum on the same map when Nook sees what it must be like a 5% ban rate. But I'm expecting
look at
fireworks.
the players. Look at some of the players in Parabellum.
Yeah, I would not want Blaz to have no.
You know,
I'll give you that.
That's why. Because you have the players in that team who can play that certain playstyle. And Kafe is just quite a heavy crouch walk map.
A bit nooky. Azami removed as well. I think we all know why that is. We know just how good Azami can be on this map. Azami's great on most maps, but there are some maps that whenever you've already got very difficult problems to solve, like Pixel and Utility Burn, you throw in Azami before all of that and it just becomes borderline impossible to deal with.
More Flores bans also coming in. We have to mention that. A recurring theme that we see, honestly, so much more than I think we've ever seen with Flores getting banned. It's insane.
It's going to be a rough start for Parabellum this, because they're starting off on the attack as well. So that's going to real add into some of the pressures that they're going to feel. Kool-Aid immediately burns that pixel spot out entirely. Penguin, great kill. My favorite rappel on Kafe. See if you can pick yourself up a freebie. Either upside down or correct way. Either will do. You pick that player up at the bottom of those white corridor and on that pixel spot. Especially with the pressure already coming in from the windows. The shield was burnt with the Gon 6. Another kill's going to fly in as well. Things looking good initially here for Parabellum. Two very important openers. Now they've just got to make sure that they don't give that advantage away.
The pings going in. Seeing if they can maybe give Asuka a little bit of information. I mean, as long as Filthy's alive, they still have this piano control. I mean, albeit it's not the greatest gun to challenge these medium to long range engagements, but still could make it happen. Just one bullet to the head, that's all it takes. Still plenty of time for Parabellum to figure out what they want to do. Filthy, a great swing, gets the kill back, but still advantage is with Parabellum in this scenario. 2 versus 3 now, Maxley. That's an MX4 Storm, just tiptoeing around. There's some yellow pings coming in, so it looks as if Kool-Aid has information on a player. Asuka on that window repel. Here comes a swing in. Maxley has to be able to win this engagement. Asuka in a very strong position. Kool-Aid swings, finds Filthy. Maxley will win it against Asuka, but now he's in a very difficult 1 versus 2. He has some information. We've seen some yellow pings come in. Reloads the MX4 Storm, a flashbang. I think they know exactly where he's going to be. Ollie goes to the swing! Gets full blinded, and Kool-Aid will pick up the pieces. Parabellum back in 4th round, Ollie, but they win it.
Looking very good as well. Kept that advantage from those opening couple of picks for a nice amount of time there before things started to get a little bit sticky. Picking up attacking rounds on Kafe isn't the easiest thing in the world to do. You know, we speak about the attackers having a lot more option now. But you've still got that big problem of spending 20 to 30 seconds getting up onto the roof, sometimes even longer, before you can really get the round going as an attacker. Leftovers, happy to give it another try. Obviously feel as though those couple of opening kills that they, or opening deaths that they suffered, are somewhat avoidable. And let's be honest, they probably are. We're going to give it another go upstairs.
Upstairs, ready to have another crack at it.
5 seconds left.
Not much is probably going to change, I would say.
Defuse a bomb.
I would say Parabellum just going to be playing the same way. Just take it nice and slow, see what they can get up to. Of course, just the LMGs, all it's so dominant at the moment. Has been for the past couple of months. I suppose whenever it's so good, why would you not pick it?
You've got to, haven't you? You know, you've got to pick it because you know that your opponent's going to pick it if you don't. LMGs and passion skins demo. That's what it's all about. Give yourself every possible advantage.
Disabling
Parabellum did a fantastic job of clearing Pixel previously. We're going to do that again now. Penguin. The EMP on the roof. Of course, EMPs do work in a sphere, so it will destroy any electronics within that range. Blaz going to be able to take down Butters. Catches him just off guard there. Dexter will find one in response, though. He's been playing Warden quite aggressively here. Two will be picked off by Blaz, though. Surely must have known that Blaz was inside a shop. Blaz has already taken so much ground here. Finds himself a third gunner with the cover on Repel. Maxley finally puts an end to Blaz's rampage. But he will still be in a 1 versus 3 with just over half the round remaining. He's got a ping to work with. The diffuser's in Kool-Aid's hands. Could look to try and get a plant down here. Looks like he's got plenty of info to be working from, but realistically, it was only ever going to be a matter of time with the way that Parabellum flew themselves at that one.
Yeah, sloppy holding the piano. I mean, Blaz just walking in, finding kills, Ollie. That seems to be it. Parabellum. I think they got the coffee, Ollie. I think they found it. An espresso. Because that's how rapid these rounds are going right now for Parabellum. Just walking in, blitzing their way through it. I mean, we mentioned about Blaz didn't really get off to the races that we were expecting to see on Chalet, but on Kafe, my goodness, he's here to play. 4 kills already.
It kind of seems to be the way with players in both of these teams that it really depends on how they start. You know, if they start a game pretty strong, they often carry that momentum through the whole way. Or if they start a little bit slow, they never really get going. Yeah, we see, you know, peaks and troughs. We see players have a pop off a couple of rounds and then go a little bit quiet. But it's nice to see a team that has essentially just been stomped out of Chalet now come and start to really contend a little bit. They really let that go, and the young Gunners are doing exactly what they've been brought in to do. Gunner 3-1, Blaz 4-2. Providing a lot of value here. Leftovers don't want to chance their arm at a third try upstairs. Instead, they're going to take us into reading. I'm not too sure that the site choice is entirely the problem here either, Demo, because Parabellum can do exactly the same take pretty much every single round because they're going to want to start with that top floor.
It's just what you expect to see time and time again. Parabellum entering in the same way as what we've seen previously against SSG. They'll just go upstairs, they'll start working on the piano, and then eventually move their way in towards that top floor. Utilize the sledge that they're always going to be bringing and start ripping up that flooring as you start digging in towards reading. But of course, upstairs is what they need to take control of first of all. Blaz it in. No surprise. But there's plenty of utility still in the hands of the defense. That shield is probably going to be primary objective number 1. Penguin will find Butters, and Eska finds Maxley 2 kills in quick succession. Parabellum already kicking things off very well on this attack. Leftovers caught in the mud.
Caught flat-footed. Commented there that I don't think the site choice is entirely the issue here. It's more the take and the convincing nature of Parabellum. Again, just about half the round remaining, and Blaz is already picking up that final kill. Filthy left in the 1 versus 3. And that is the tipping point. Leftovers say no more. We need to put a stop to this. And they're going to call their timeout.
Quick timeout. Probably needed, I would say, from Leftovers. Those 3 rounds have not been good. Not been good whatsoever. Pretty much where Parabellum were on Chalet, it has to be said, Ollie. You know, look at the differences. Leftovers were storming through Parabellum like it was nothing, and now Parabellum are pretty much doing the exact same thing to them. However, the difference was Parabellum had no interest in slowing things down. They just kept playing round after round. I think Leftovers have realized that. And what are they going to change? Because they're going back upstairs. Look at the lineup. Doesn't look as if much has changed in that department. So I'm not sure. I don't know.
They've got to come out with something fundamentally different. They're suffering greatly on the repels. Parabellum are getting themselves on the repel. They've got great information. They're sending that utility in. burning effectively, getting the nades on through, and they're easily able to pinpoint and pick off these defenders. Are leftovers being too predictable? Are they not setting up the utility in the correct fashion?
Attackers need to locate
You think about
and
the first
defuse
two opening
bombs.
picks in round number 1, it was a Jaeger and a Wamai. You know, you lose the Wamai in the first 20, 30 seconds of a round, it's as good as bringing nothing, because you've not got any of those magnets kicking around. You maybe got 1, possibly 2 in decent places. It really does start to, you know, beg a question of, we need to see leftovers playing a little bit safer. It's almost like they're trying to bring that confidence that they won Chalet with through into Kafe, and that's not a bad thing. You know, you should play with confidence, but you can't play recklessly, you can't play too aggressively, you can't be giving yourselves up like that. Hopefully the team talk will be enough to steady them somewhat. We can still look to try and salvage this first half. Only 3 rounds have passed. It's probably one of the best timeouts I've seen in recent memory, to be honest with you. Teams often, in my opinion, leave it far too late. Especially if you just lost 3 rounds back to back to back like that. You want to take a little bit of the momentum as much as you can out of Parabellum. But I'm not sure if that has entirely worked. If we cast our eyes over to the right-hand side of our screens and check out just exactly what Parabellum are bringing to this party of round 4 demo, it could be what we wanted to see yesterday and just didn't get to.
Parabellum now kind of have a bit of flexibility whenever they have these 3 rounds in the bag already. They can experiment if they want to. Play a little bit more risky. And here we go. This is where you would expect Maxley in the Warden has to make a dent. In goes the Candelas. In goes Kool-Aid. Will jump straight in. 2 of them are going to be tucked into the corner. Adapt is in such low HP. They had no idea that Adapt was stacked up beside them. And the rush has failed, Ollie. Blaz will find 1 kill, but at what cost? The rest of the team is dead. I say that, though, it's a 2v2. Now into a 1 versus 2. Eska has it all to play for. Lasergate will stop his approach. Tanks it. Takes a bit of damage, but look at the bulletproof. Constant information! What a shot from Eska! The spray hits hard onto Dexter's head, but Filthy swings around as the shotgun. My goodness. What a round.
Explosive from start through to finish. Scrappy, nail-biting, lots of mistakes from both sides as well, and everyone just scrambling to try and rectify. Good recovery from leftovers, though. That could have very easily gone bad very quickly. 2 players stacked up inside a cocktail isn't something that you see all the time. You're anticipating there to be 1 player there as the Aruni flying on through. You're not anticipating there to be 2, especially when your teammate, Kool-Aid in this instance, has already pushed through, got himself to the rotation, and had the sight picture that there was 1 on the desk and there was 1 laid prone. Obviously, that information is very difficult to call out in the matter of time of 1 second between that happening and then Aruni starting to swing the corner. It's going to be very difficult to effectively translate that to your teammate to let them know just exactly what they're going up against. But a fantastic attempt at the end, and you just had a feeling that the clutch was on there, Demo. I don't know, you don't often get situations like that where you think, yeah, you know, against all odds, this one could probably come off.
Whew. At least we have a game, Ollie, which is good to see. Not the total stomp. Maybe it was impending to turn out like that. I am slightly worried, though, for Parabellum, because now I'm just seeing some questionable pickups. Your rush doesn't work. Surely you would like to go back to what was working for you, but now I'm seeing some fun ups.
Activating camera.
Yeah, Lion Blitz Thinker. It's
Team
not quite
Yellow.
a strategy, but it's something you can choose to bring. I always worry when the Blitz starts to go in on their own. Because Blitz is great, but Blitz is even better with friends. You know, the pistol's fine. The shield, yeah, it's good. But I'd really like to see someone on his shoulder.
Door secured.
Blitz moving in, clearing out that mid floor. It's just what kind of idea do they have with the Blitz? Because sure, Blitz is good at clearing roamers, kind of scare people away, can be decent in that department. But other than that, you know, what is he really going to bring to the table? You know, dropping hatch is always going to be risky because then, you know, legs are exposed, you know, parts of the body are exposed, you get picked off quite easily. Sure, you have the smokes as well, which I suppose is nice, but if you need smokes, there's bundles of operators you can choose. There is a man still upstairs, Filthy. I thought he was going to go unchecked, but Eska will see to that. A minute to go. First kill for Parabellum. It's looking okay at the moment, but they need to get some soft destruction done on this floor and Ollie.
Yeah, time for Eska to start swinging that hammer. Penguin going to take a very aggressive stance here. His teammate there to pick up the kill. Goes for the pistol on to adapt. Fortunately, Blaz is there. Isn't going to matter too much. Butters with the fight back. Inside of sight, it's an important kill there, but will be taken out before he can detonate that C4. Dexter, right place, right time. Is he going to continue? Inside of Wedding at the moment, knows that there's going to be players inside of sight. Kool-Aid is one of them with the diffuser. How much info has Dexter got here? He's going to get swung by Kool-Aid, it turns out. The info was on the side of Parabellum there. Ooh, pre-fire on through. We barely got a glimpse of Dexter before he fell. The timeout seemingly good enough for only one round demo. Parabellum, they've got the option to do exactly to Leftovers what they did to them on Chalet. We could be looking at another 7-1 here if things don't buck up.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as
So
round number 6,
round.
just before we turn the sides.
So weird game of Siege so far from what I'm seeing. Very close. Parabellum obviously kind of running with some flexibility in terms of who they bring into the lineup. Just,
10 seconds left.
I mean, we kind of highlighted Butters, didn't we, Ollie? We said that he played well on Chalet compared to how he played in previous play days, but now not looking too good.
Attackers are heading out to defuse.
Dexter, we've highlighted, not looking too good. I mean, it's the Blast show right now.
Dexter not looking too healthy there either. I think Filthy dumped a bit of the Vector into him, maybe trying to destroy a drone or something on that top floor. We're going to chunk him down ahead of the round starting. Blaz is certainly leading the charge. There's been a big mental reset there from Parabellum. We asked for it. We questioned whether it was going to happen or not.
He's coming in, I think from pillars maybe, Ollie, it looks like. And that's what he'll do. He'll lurk down looking for a pick as best as he can. It's just very French. We've mentioned this before. He's got a nice cam. Can support himself. It's just this upstairs clear for Parabellum again. That's what they have to deal with. And it was dealt with in extreme fashion last time they attacked this bomb site. Nobody from Leftovers really stood a chance, Ollie. They were just picked apart. Never really got an inkling into the round whatsoever. And there's the LMG. Swings free for Gunner. Adapt is gone, and nobody else is upstairs with him. Penguin has found Dexter, though, so still in favor of Parabellum. 3 versus 4, half the round to go. It's a good start from Parabellum. They can now move in, get Eska. He's still alive, so that's important, Ollie, isn't it? Get the soft destruction in.
Absolutely, it's time to start swinging the hammer. You gotta love the way that Parabellum cleared that top floor as well. Gunnar was just able to sneak his way in through. He's gonna pay for it, but 2 kills in favor. You're not really gonna argue too much with that. Penguin can start to look to secure some flanks here. Eska just waiting for the cue to call. Gonna hop himself in. A lot of info still lying around upstairs. One of the Valkyrie cameras will be removed. Maxley can hit a nice C4. Manages to bypass the Nomad. You can't afford to just air jab it and forget it. If the air jab hasn't set, it will not trigger.
Got Blaz.
Blaz is inside of sight, however, which is a little bit problematic, I'll be honest.
Nobody knows he's
somebody's
here.
inside a laundry.
Attackers have recovered
And
their
realistically, you can just look to try and hold that now for a large part of the round, but he's also got the
try and
small
plant.
problem.
He's just gonna plant.
Eska
Plant.
needs to try and get that plant down. Blaz has actually left the site. He's gone hunting. He doesn't realize that someone's going to be lower on those white stairs. He's going to try and go for a little bit of a retake. Eska, he's going to try and get the plant down. Is Blaz there to cover or not? Filthy, he's rotating on into the site. Eska finds one before being called out and taken out. 2 versus 1 now as the Golio shield pops. Blaz has to force his way on through it. Leftovers. Ring around the rosy there, Demo. Managed to pull away with it.
I'm just really confused. I think Blaz in a really good position. Nobody knew he was in bomb site. Nobody knew. And then he goes for a journey whenever he really didn't need to be. I thought they were just going to bring Eska in, just get the diffuser down as quick as they could. Yeah, very, very confused because he's basically left Eska for dead there, hasn't he?
Yeah, and as soon as Eska starts getting the plant down, you've got to wonder, why now? Why is now the best time to do it when your teammate's on the top floor? Strange round. Certainly an oversight from Parabellum.
by attackers.
But they've got themselves a bit of a buffer here. They're still in it. And the pressure flips. Leftovers now. Haven't seen a little bit of success, especially at that in those later rounds of that first half. It's always good momentum to be moving forward with.
Whew, 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 whew.
5 seconds to go.
All right.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Upstairs, kicking things off. No surprise from Parabellum. All pressure now falls to Leftovers. They are down. A 4-2 split. And keep in mind that Kafe is attacker-sided, defender-sided, should I say, Ollie. Usually what we see is the more 4-2 splits for defense, even 5-1s at stage. So it hasn't been good from Leftovers and Parabellum now. They certainly have the easier side. Let's see how they're going to approach this. Obviously, Valkyrie being open, Ollie. We've always seen Valkyrie and Kafe as such a strong operator. Valkyrie isn't as banned anymore because you can't get those outside cameras, but I still think that if you see the Valkyrie and Kafe, you need the IQ, in my opinion.
I think we saw that, particularly in that last round from Leftovers. There was Valkyrie cameras still being picked off in the dying few seconds of the round. So much info, so many nooks and crannies to hide them in as well. There's so many vases, so many bits of coving in the ceilings, just undulating surfaces, and they all scream out for a Valkyrie to be placed on them. Leftovers, are they going to have the same explosive flair to that attacking stage that we saw Parabellum have in the early couple of rounds? I'd say not. Gunner picks himself up 2 great kills, sitting them down off the rappel. You've just seen 2 teammates die from this rappel adapt. Do you really want to peek that? Do you really want to put your head in harm's way? Butters tries to pre-fire his way on through, but Gunner is unstoppable. Eventually, he will be shut down by Adapt, but the damage has truly been done here. 1 minute 15 left on the clock. 2 versus 4. Gunner done his job and more.
Oh, smoke canister gets thrown out. Adapt has to back away. Blaz just caught in the middle of the corridor there for a reason I do not know. Now will be a 2 versus 3, but I still think Parabellum in good positions right now. Penguin has bathroom control, of course, still, so he can sit there as long as he wants to. Gonna access to that white corridor. Filthy will drone him out, though, will spot him out. And now Penguin actually gonna, instead to duck his way out of there, hunt the drone, fall back to white stairs, but still, like I said, all position is in favor of Parabellum right now.
Parabellum really are in the driver's seat here. Daps doesn't realize that someone's just on the other side of Longbar. Penguin going to take down Filthy. Eska pops up. No one expecting him to be there at that time. He had a handle on just about everything there in that round. Still information left over. Parabellum hell-bent on taking this to all 3, and all credit to Gunner. For without him, that round would not have been that easy.
That was Skin. He got the 2 kills from behind the shield. And then I see him just go on a hunt, and he still gets a kill. Strong stuff. Parabellum. Storming away with Kafe right now. Only I think a third map is on our doorstep, honestly. I don't see Parabellum slowing down.
I would agree. Oregon is a decider. Max OT when we get to Oregon, potentially. One good map, one bad map from either team in the first 2 of the best of 3, and then Oregon, we just go to all 15. Demo.
What you call me?
Demo.
Don't you ever confuse me with that boy from Brum. Don't you ever do that.
I was quoting the line, though.
No, I don't care. No, you said you called me Dez. Can't be having that.
Kool-Aid's got himself in harm's way, hasn't he?
A rush? Question mark.
Could be.
This is going to be a freebie for Dexter. Never mind. Huh.
Absolute Uno reverse on that statement.
Kind of sums up how Cafe's going at the moment for leftovers. Anything they try and swing, they get killed. There.
Yep, case in point. I'll take it. Gunnar gets himself one and then just affords to play recklessly from there on out. A couple of missed shots there from Filthy. Is he going to go for the repeat here? Opts to throw the drone in instead. Teammate can use that to gather a bit of information, but Gunnar is not finished. He's swinging everything. Maxley eventually shuts him down. That's so much damage. There's still a player behind Bakery counter. Maxley, clearly not aware of it. Caught looking the wrong way entirely as Esker puts him to the cameras. Adapt. What do? You've got just over half the round, and you are 1 versus 4.
Where is Blaz? He just keeps running in and out outside. Do you see him?
I mean, why wouldn't you at this point?
I think he's back in FPL and EU.
You're going to cause frustration.
Look at him. Just see his. Do you not just see him? He's not. He just keeps moving. He'll come for a tiptoe over to this side. I bet you. Adapt ain't moving.
I would wager that Adapt grabs 1 kill here.
I mean, it depends if Parabellum are going to get reckless. Oh, and of course they will. Of course they will, and look who it is.
We know that Parabellum are going to get reckless.
I mean, Blaz is.
Well, yeah.
3 of them have common sense. But him.
Of course they do.
He's him.
But realistically, I think that's all Adapt's going to get. It's a free 1 minute 30 chat with his team. Even if they don't specifically speak about Kafe and the problems that they've got here, it gives them an opportunity to put themselves in a better headspace if they do move on to that 3rd map, which is looking increasingly more likely, seeing as Parabellum just put themselves on map point.
Match point, Parabellum. Just, yeah, not even... I don't even know what leftovers can do at this stage. Like I mentioned, anything they swing, they're just getting sat down. Just... That's where they're at.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
4 rounds they need. 4 rounds in a row for leftovers to at least take it to OT. I don't think Parabellum are gonna... I don't think they're gonna fail that hard if it goes to overtime.
Bomb located by attackers.
No, that would be a pretty big throw at this point. 4 rounds on the bounce is significant indeed. We've seen it done before. Anything can happen in Siege. It's just incredibly unlikely.
10 seconds to go.
Parabellum have too many options to get this one over the line.
5 seconds to insertion.
For all that we'll have seen, all 3 maps demo, we're not doing too badly on time given how quickly both of these games have gone. We've got a 7-1 and potentially here a 7-2. Certainly is one of the speedier best of threes out there, obviously pending how Oregon goes, which I've already touted as all 15 rounds and down to the final 1-versus-1, which really is the only way that we're going to find a winner between these two teams. I doubt that either team is going to steamroll when we get over onto Oregon.
I mean, it's a tale of two halves, isn't it? Right now, from what we're seeing, it's just we need to find out how the final chapter ends. Banner pellets used, open up the hatches. Keep in mind, this is a mid-floor defense, but generically, a lot of teams will like to push in from upstairs, clear across piano, move in towards cocktail bar. You know, we've seen, obviously, Parabellum, that's the way they attacked this site. And leftovers are also going to go for the same approach. There's the nades in, get rid of the shield. That shield and pixel is always going to be there. And, you know, there's been a few times, Ollie, where teams, they've really struggled with actually eliminating that shield, and it's caused a lot of issues for the attacks. Need to make sure that utility is placed well.
And that's something that both of these teams have done particularly well, is dealing with that utility. Leftovers were fantastic on Chalet. We've not got to see them all too much here on Kafe, but certainly Parabellum, especially when it came to dealing with Pixel, were top tier. Just always good to see. Gonna go for some X-Kairos pellets there onto that freezer wall just to try and open up into cocktail. They know that somebody's going to be playing in over there. Butters takes a more aggressive stance, immediately pushes on through, gives himself the adrenal surge, and can watch the top of those white stairs for any player that wants to rotate. Nade getting cooked and sent on through, but wasn't anticipating the ADS. Still, a second will be there to do the job, and it doesn't do anything but push the player further down white. Top floor control has now been gained. No C4s remain in the hands of Parabellum. So can't do too much to affect onto that at this moment in time, but Blaz is there, and he's going to find himself not one, but two. SMG-11, good enough for 2 kills if your name's Blaz. Kool-Aid going to shut down onto Butters. Filthy going to be the next player to fall. Where is Blaz getting all of these kills from? Adapt, he gets lit as well. Looking to now take the engagement at the top of white stairs, but we know that the player is going to be rotating around aggressively because that player's name is Blaz. Eventually, he will be put out of his misery as Penguin collects that final kill from just in and around pillars and brown stairs area. Parabellum, what a masterclass on Kafe.
What can you say? Just complete different turn of events compared to what we've seen on Chalet. We said that Parabellum needed to go and get the coffee. They've done that. You know, what a turnaround, what a dominant performance. Great stuff from Parabellum, and now you have to look at leftovers and think, okay, now where do they go from here?
Parabellum got the coffee, they got the Red Bull, they got the energy drinks, you know, they got everything that they might need to get themselves through that one. It was almost as if we changed the names of the players, because Parabellum played like Leftovers played on Chalet. We're going to go to a very short break before we come back with our desk, and there we will be breaking down the game that we've just seen on Kafe. It was a bit of a blink and you'll miss it, but we have got a third and final map inside of this best of 3. We're going to be going to Oregon to decide who is going to book themselves a seat with Space Station in our finals tomorrow. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back in just a few.
जब चढ़ाई में चलो चढ़ने में तो इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती, तो थोड़ा सी बर्फ़ में यहाँ पे आंगन में ही थोड़ा सा पैर फ्रैक्चर हो गया था। मेरा नाम सीमा ठाकुर है, मैं हाउसवाइफ हूँ। वैक्सीन लगवाने के लिए हमें टूटू जाना पड़ता है, नहीं तो नहीं आयुर्वेदिक वो भी है ऊपर। बच्चों के साथ आधा घंटा लग जाता है। गिरब में जो है डिस्पेंसरी, उसके लिए आधा घंटा लग जाता है। जो टूटू जाना हो तो टूटू जाने में पौना घंटा बच्चों के साथ लग जाता है और पैदल जाना पड़ता है। बारिश बर्फ़ में तो बहुत मुश्किलें होती है, क्योंकि बच्चों के साथ आना जाना बहुत दिक्कत होती है।
मेरा नाम कृष्ण लाल है जी, और मैं स्वास्थ्य विभाग में, क्योंकि कुछ साल पहले ऐसा होता था कि गांव में पता ही नहीं चलता था लोगों को कि क्या है, कोई पोलियो है कि कोई जानता नहीं था। अब जब सरकार ने इसके लिए इस तरीके के अभियान छेड़े हैं, जब तक हमारे को पूरा कंफर्म नहीं होगा कि इस बच्चे ने यहाँ पे दवाई नहीं पी या पिलाई या नहीं पिलाई, चले जाओ आप दूर दराज के क्षेत्र में चले जाओ तो हमारे को कोई ऐसा केस या ऐसा कोई बच्चा, अगर यहाँ बच्चा आ गया तो हमने यहाँ भी पिलानी है। किसी कारणवश अगर बच्चा हो जाता, गांव में लोग रहते, क्या पता क्या मजबूरी है उसको, क्यों नहीं आया बच्चा, क्या पता वो बीमार है या कोई उसको कोई और प्रॉब्लम है। तो हमारा ये है कि भी हमारे पास पूरी वो होती है लिस्ट बनी हुई ना, कि हमारा अब लोकलिटी में तो पता ही होता है सबको कि फलानी जगह बच्चा फलानी जगह, तो हमारे पूरा पता है कि फलाना बच्चा फलानी जगह से नहीं आया। वो तो हम क्या करते हैं, जैसे 4 बजे तक आज हम दवाई पिलाएंगे तो नेक्स्ट डे उसको घर में जाके दवाई पिलाए। वही जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि भी ऐसा नहीं होता कि भी उसको उस सुविधा से वंचित रहना पड़ेगा।
Welcome back, everyone. It is Jackie, Jing, Jesse, and Jess. I love that.
Girl,
I told you guys.
It sounded like you forgot my name there. I was like, it's not difficult.
No, I told you it's very easy because I can always just be like Jess, E, or Jesse, Jess. Okay, wow,
Yeah,
we're off topic.
person,
We are
but, like,
so
split. Sure.
off topic. Yes. Anyway, okay, we got a map to talk about here, folks, and definitely flipping the script here. Leftovers taking it. This is a solid win. Map 2 Cafe 7-2. And the key here, Jess E, is Gunnar and Blaz. The dynamic duo definitely contributed to the victory. Jess, don't you dare put your hand.
I'm letting you go.
Listen, Parabellum had a great map, and I do think a lot of that was because of their brand new players, Gunnar and Blaz. This is the third game in the tournament, out of 3, remember, that those 2 players have been the top fraggers for this squad. I really think these are great changes that Parabellum have made in the offseason. I mean, you know, no shade to creators or to Wimpy, but it does feel like they've really upped their firepower, and having these 2 on the roster to get in for those entries, it feels like we've seen Gunnar be like a little bit better on defense, and Blaz has been a little bit more, you know, with those LMGs running around on offense, which means they complement each other perfectly. It was 10-7 on Gunnar today, 13-8 on Blaz through that map. So really appreciating that we're seeing these players pop off and, you know, breathe fresh breath of air into Parabellum.
Jesse, thank you for getting us back on the rails too.
Yes.
Jess and I were going off the rails, and he's like, "Yeah,
Somebody's gotta."
We're gonna start talking about the map again." But let's move forward now. Let's look ahead. Map 3, Oregon, the decider. Jess, who is taking it?
I think when you win so dominantly your own map picks, it's probably pretty easy to have like recency bias. So we might turn around on that second map and be like, wow, Parabellum's really swung the momentum back into their, you know, favor and everything like that. But I just think this is a nice little middle ground. This could be, fingers crossed, a close map. Obviously, for those of us in Europe who's already 3 a.m., they're probably hoping not a long map. But I do hope for the competitiveness of this matchup that you have 2 very one-sided maps. Oh, that's your map picks. And now you've gone to what is not one of your most dominant picks here for both of these teams, and you can come out and have a really close matchup. I am a little worried though that a lot of this has come down to some playmakers on the side of Parabellum, and I'm wondering whether or not if Leftovers can shut them down, whether that turns the script yet again into another Chalet, and that sort of just starts to roll the ball. So that's my one thing, is like you pointed out some of the key win conditions for the side of Parabellum. They get shut down, they start making mistakes, start making hero plays, and all of a sudden things start to look real good for Leftovers again. So we'll see.
Jesse raising his eyebrows there. So what you thinking?
I mean, listen, I think the biggest problem that Parabellum had through the series is just they weren't big Chalet fans. I think that a lot of their setups that they were running were not ideal. I didn't feel like they had a great grasp of how to defend on that map. They're going to Oregon now, which is a map they've played in every series so far throughout this tournament. So they're clearly very familiar with it. They like this map. I think they're going to be comfortable on it. I'm expecting more of what we saw in Kafe and another hopefully, you know, dominant win for Parabellum.
All right. Well, we shall see how map 3 plays out. And I love them to pieces. Ollie and Demo. Let's go to them in the cyberpunk basement. Ollie and I have been picking on each other every single break. Pick.
Jackie, Jesse, Jess, thank you all so very much. I'm not entirely sure what you're on about there, Jackie, but I think it's been friendly throughout the breaks. We've been having a good time here on Games Without Borders demo, and we are going to be going into our 3rd and final map here tonight. Leftovers versus Parabellum. We are headed to Oregon because guess what? We need to find a winner between these 2 teams. We could not have had 2 different maps to kick things off. We get a 7-1 for Leftovers. We get a convincing bounce back win on Kafe for Parabellum. And now here we are. Where does this go, Demo?
Who knows? Take your pick.
Who stomps who?
I'll be honest, you have 2 choices to make.
Well, you've got 3. And you're not going to like the 3rd.
Don't say it.
I mean, I think that we have a winner no matter who wins, don't you?
No.
Do the fans and the viewers and the audience and everybody watching at home not win because everybody gets to watch?
Well, no, because everybody
exciting best of 3?
No, because everyone wouldn't win, because if Leftovers beat Parabellum, or if Parabellum beat Leftovers, then that team that loses, they lose. They don't win. So not everyone actually wins.
Okay, but we could get a majority win.
No. No, because then what about all the Parabellum fans or all the leftover fans?
What about the neutral fans though?
Who's neutral watching this?
Hands up in the chat if you're a neutral fan and just love the game that is Siege. I believe
you've rocked up to a football match. Let's say it's Manchester United versus Manchester City. You're not seeing Liverpool fans there, are you?
I mean, you've just named one of the biggest derbies that's probably incredibly difficult to get tickets for. This is Twitch demo. Anyone can go to twitch.tv/gamers or /GWBPS and watch the show. So it you know, I don't think it's a fair comparison.
Defenders,
Oh,
protect your bombs from
fans have came in.
attackers.
Pretty atypical. That Flores ban, dominant as ever. Thatcher, no surprise. Valkyra, yeah, all fairly standard stuff. Probably the only thing you could look at and say is Kaid's open, so it kind of forces you into Maverick every round pretty much on the attack, which Parabellum have realized that, even though there's no Kaid on the board.
Yeah, no Kaid's a bit of a strange one.
10 seconds left.
Especially if open, you would expect it played.
5
Maverick has
seconds
been
to go.
picked as a fail-safe option anyway by Kool-Aid.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
We do see the mirror ban this time as well. Mirror was a big talking point for anyone that stuck around since the phase game that we saw earlier on. Mirror was a huge topic of conversation on Oregon as a map. It is incredibly powerful, primarily on that basement, but you can adapt it to make it work for other sites as well. It's just not as common. But with Mirror being removed, it does make the old laundry freezer push a little bit more accessible for the attackers. Saves you trying to burn through a ton of utility if you want to try and opt for that bunker take instead. And Leftovers have kind of combated that by just opening up a knee-height hole in the wall that is in freezer, adjoining onto laundry, just making it difficult to immediately walk down into freezer, and gain immediate access.
Quick clear in for Parabellum, starting to rotate now over towards bunker. So it'll be the more atypical electrical hatch, move in towards pillar, pressure in towards bunker. That's what we're after right now for Parabellum. A lot of pressure on Blaz and he's backstairs. You need to be looking for these opening picks. You need to start looking to kill that man on pillar. Of course it is. It's a difficult one to challenge. But let's see if Blaz can make it happen. So hatch is being opened up with ease. Of course, no Kaid on the board. Don't have to worry about getting the Maverick in, who, speaking of Maverick, there's actually even Maverick can open a hatch. Doesn't need to, of course, but still doing it nonetheless. Oh, and Penguin could maybe open up in towards that Shaiko door. Would alleviate some pressure. Apply, of course, pressure to Maxley and take a bit of the weight off the shoulders of Blaz, who, speaking of, has actually been first blooded.
User has been dropped.
Blaz, the superstar from Kafe, taken out first here. Kool-Aid going to try and make his approach down these stairs. He knows that there's going to be a player on pillar. The nade is sent through.
Great nade.
Will be successful. Brilliant cook time on that nade.
Oh,
Adapt to Maxley, though. They've got other ideas. There might be nades coming their way, but they're raining bullets back. A fluff nade from Esker is going to cause him to have to use another, as he is the last remaining survivor here on Parabellum. He's got the right idea, but can't hope to execute. Maxley with the swing to finish things off. Still information there available for Leftovers. They make that look fairly straightforward. That that end collapse just didn't go to plan at all for Parabellum.
yeah, Parabellum could not deal with Maxley on Shaiko, which I'm really surprised about. He was able to slip out of that doorway and actually move in towards bunker, and we seen, I think it was, whoever the thinker was, just walked into the double door, had no idea that Maxley was tucked into the corner. Yeah, they need to get their priorities straight. You cannot allow somebody to just have that freedom to rotate in throughout that doorway with such ease. They need to do something to stop that. So sloppy round from Parabellum to start off.
It's not exactly how you want to be kicking things off here. Oregon does tend to trend slightly toward the defender. Let's see how Parabellum approach this top floor site. This will be a good indication of where they are at in the game state. Did they use all of their energy coming back on Kafe after a disastrous Chalet? Or have they left a little bit in the tank for this third map? Going to be bringing the Monty. Late 6 pick out there for Penguin. Obviously feeling like Slow and Steady will win this race. Opting to bring the human drone.
So Monty's here. Ready to rock and roll. See where Penguin wants to approach. Probably straight up the armory stairs is where he's going to be moseying on down to. And Butters has the run out from Big Tower. Eska gets caught out. Not a good start from Parabellum. However, Dexter has actually been pushed out by the Monty into the crosshairs of Gunner, who was on that generator rappel. That's a good kill to get back.
Penguin doing his job
Dear.
quite as well as he could be doing. He's got a big old shield there to protect him from things like that. Adapt. Manages to find a way around. Kool-Aid just going to go for an aggressive swing. Picks one off at the top of those white stairs and finds the second. I thought that was a dead cert that he was going to be taken down there. Butters, he tries to join the party, but Blaz shuts him down from the top of white. Doesn't even need to burn this laser gate. Just rain bullets through it.
Kool-Aid just taking swings and winning his gunfights. I was really surprised that the Monty got picked off so easily. Don't know how Penguin let that happen. But yeah, a bit all over the place. It was certainly there up in the air, and well, it's Parabellum who caught it as it did. So Leftovers drop their first defense. They will have another go upstairs on towards the kids. Are they going to have that same extension in towards Trophy? I mean, the fact that Filthy is rotating or reinforcing rotate walls, maybe not so much, but maybe doing it on the other side, I'm not sure. I mean, they're setting up the same way. They have that shield. Looking in towards Trophy. But no Monty this time from Parabellum. No Monty.
No, the Monty really didn't work, did it? Penguin didn't have the desired effect.
10 seconds to go.
Not a bad thing to try. You've got to try these things. But realistically, he needed a little bit more of his team around him there. He just got himself a little bit too deep behind enemy lines. Fortunately, it still paid off for Parabellum. I'm going to pick into it again and see if he can right the wrongs of previous. Blaz, shut down. Ring, ring, ring. Taxi for Blaz, please. Maxley, he just slapped him off the face of the game. Blaz aggressively pushing in there through double door. I don't think he was aware or even ready for a challenge there. Leftovers, it's good to see them contending at the start of these rounds, Demo. They need to be playing these rounds aggressively and meeting this Parabellum push.
Gunner, just lines them up. Parabellum, a flurry of kills inside the first minute, and another one added onto that tally. It's an absolute bloodbath. Maxley fires that C4, catches nothing, and Parabellum can just pressure him into the corner. Oh, they just rush him down, chase him down. Parabellum take a quick round.
For the way that round started, it's shocking that it ended in that fashion. Parabellum looked like they're trying to speed run their way through Oregon here. They lose the Finker on the opening kill, and you think, oh, that's a really great pick for Leftovers. They can get themselves back to site now and just dig in. Things are going to be fine. Leftovers, it felt like they were just finished with preparations, and the round is over. Parabellum storming their way through, not leaving anything up to chance.
Defenders, protect your bomb.
Fantastic push there. Really just rolling over Leftovers. That just didn't even... That didn't look like any competitive round that I can remember seeing, Demo.
Just this is where you start to worry a little bit for Leftovers. I mean, I think this round's going to be a bit of a make or break, because I think Leftovers need to keep it going back and forth. You cannot allow Parabellum to have that momentum. Look what happened to you in Kafe. They need to keep it as level as they can.
10 seconds remaining.
Downstairs. So where we head. Last time, Leftovers not really wanting to initiate in a roam game. Very passive, very turtle format. on the bomb site.
Moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
And, I mean, at the end of the day, it did work out well for them. Like I said, I think Parabellum played a little bit sloppy. So we'll see if they can rectify those mistakes.
Penguin really insisting on bringing this Monty. Seeing if he can make it work. I mean, it worked beautifully in the last round when they're just running down one player. That's the dream situation to have a Monty in, but Siege doesn't always play out like that. Esker going to get himself in upstairs and see if he can assist with some of this early roam clear. Use that sledgehammer to open up a couple of lines of sight for him to work with. Hatches, of course, are going to be a focus here, but Gunnar, a little bit ahead of the pack. He's already down inside a freezer. Likely will rotate out of there, but just putting that pressure on early, making sure that these defenders are well and truly hemmed in. Blaz nearly grabs himself some fantastic time in there. Just put a couple of shots in onto Maxley. Doesn't need to push it for the meantime, can instead wait for the drones to catch up. Gunnar, here, there, and everywhere. Last time I looked, he was in freezer. All of a sudden, he's in blue. Waiting to go through that barricade. A couple of holes already have been shot through it, so he can spend a bit of time now hopping into a drone, seeing if he can bait anybody out of there and just waiting for his team to catch up.
Half the round gone. Of course, those smoke canisters are going to be the big talking point. I'm surprised we're not seeing the Goyo be brought in by leftovers. So we mentioned before that Goyo could be so strong on this bomb site. You can see straight away Parabellum trying to target that player in Shaiko door. That was the issue that they kind of fell into last time, wasn't all? They just allowed Maxley to rotate back and forth with ease, and nobody really being able to contest him. And he's still alive and kicking at the moment. You can see him running back and forth between the stairs, between the doorway. He will open up a bit of an angle, and Maxley even challenges on the Esker, will find a kill, but there's the trades. That's better from Parabellum. They have been able to see what the weakness was that they fell to last time, and they'll be able to stop that.
Still the round not over yet. Leftovers not in a bad position given that there's 38 seconds left. Gunnar, only player with a gun in his hand. Penguin, of course, being on the Monty, can provide that information, but Gunnar needs to be playing with him here. Penguin has already pushed up, taking control of Elbow. He can look to try and block this rotation off. There's no explosives that are going to cause him any harm here, and with all the toxic babes having been spent, not going to be too concerned. Gunnar grabs himself one onto Adapt. He's been able to break these down somewhat quite nicely. Penguin needs to try and get active here. Gunnar finds himself a third, needs to pick up this fourth, but Penguin does it instead. Monty with the shield drawn, spots the player out proned and is able to pick up that finishing kill. If he hadn't, you bet your bottom dollar that Gunnar would have found it.
Wow. Good recovery from Parabellum. Wasn't looking good for them. But they've managed to make it work. Big bad LMG. I mean, what can you say? It's just Gunnar there. And of course, that Monty making things work also. But like I mentioned about Parabellum, they were able to see where they fell short last time. And I think being able to notice that, yeah, if we eliminate this player from Shaiko, it just alleviates so much more pressure. It stops them coming in from blue. It stops them pushing in towards pillar. Yeah, I think Parabellum just adapting well.
Parabellum have continued, haven't they? They've managed to continue that form they found on Kafe over, and they've managed to drag that and translate it through into Oregon. 3 rounds on the attack. Certainly doesn't come easy. Already standing to make this a good split, a good first half. And it looks as though they're having a little bit of fun with it as well. Penguin taking challenges with the Monty. A couple of players getting multi-kills with a Kool-Aid popping off, who by all accounts has been one of the quieter members of the team. Blaz is still sitting on 1 and 3. We're waiting for him to really get activated. It's all been on Gunnar at the moment to lead that kill charge. Parabellum can just go through the motions. If you didn't know better, you'd think you were watching the last round. Esker doing exactly the same as he did before. Gunnar, same position. Going to initially approach those freezer stairs, get rid of the camera, put a few shots in, see if he gets lucky, and then likely rotate himself off.
Gunner looking to get that early entry in with that LMG. Quick peek here or there, does make himself known. Now Kool-Aid can come in, sweep across and get these hatches open. So Parabellum, maybe changing things up, maybe looking for a bit of a freezer approach. It certainly would seem that way, although you don't go down here and start burning utility if you're not after the laundry freezer take. They burn through the ADSs, being able to eliminate that deployed shield. It's going to be a good start for them.
Big change, of course, being the Penguin this time is going to be on Maverick as opposed to the Monty. Maybe that's the flexibility they need to actually play Blaz and Gunner inside of Freezer. The flank's fairly safe at the moment. They can just focus on gathering this info on the drones. Blaz has got the ability to burn if he should need to. Got a couple of smokes in his back pocket. The nades do start to come through now. Gunner, you can lay down that cover and fire and make sure that no one's in position to peek. They know that somebody's playing inside a freezer, but they are quite deep. Right back near the door. Penguin, and try his luck with a nade. Just continually pulling the pin until the call and the info is there. Gunner, maybe looking to make use of that as well. Potentially hoping that someone will swing off the back of a repeated nade being pulled out, or a pin being pulled out of the nade. Penguin eventually advances on through, picks himself up one with the nade, but Dexter is there. Glasses activated. Maxley as well. Kool-Aid, you've got to push in, you've got to play big. Gets shut down by Filthy. That's the diffuser cold. Gunner, you got loads of bullets in the LMG. It's time to use them. Can he find the head? Eventually does. Dexter, he gets shut down as well. Maxley playing way back near the bottom of those stairs, just outside of Harry Potter Blaz. He's going to start to try and get this diffuser down. There's tons of information still left up. There must be a bulletproof somewhere calling out every single move. A messy gunfight. Blaz keeps himself alive. Pistols have been drawn. Maxley, that's likely not going to be good enough. You can't pre-fire with a pistol, my friend. Not against the F2. Blaz, a quiet game up until now, but a very important plant and a kill to lock in that round.
Oh, a lot of messy gunfights, Ollie, in that round, it has to be said. The one inside a freezer. The Warden just peeking in and behind the box. I thought that surely Gunner would have won it. A little bit cleaner than what it was, but oh, this is whenever you start to worry just a tad. And then almost Blaz getting taken out by the swing from the Jaeger. Jaeger just missing too many shots. Oh, it was a close one, but Parabellum 4-1, they lead, Ollie. Oh dear.
Cracking start for Parabellum. The pressure really is off at this point. There's still, of course, a game to be won here, but they've put themselves in such a great position. Leftovers, they're going to be banging the head against this site again. There's got to become a time where you think, just leave it. Just go somewhere else. Don't put yourself through it. You haven't really been too successful down here. You need to try and come up with something new. Take us into meat and kitchen. Take us into meat and dining. Do do something.
5 seconds to insertion. Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and...
Oh. Final round. On the defense. I'm sure Leftovers, if you know it's a final round defense, you're probably thinking, I mean, we're happy that it's about to be over. But they know they need this round, Ollie. 5-1 down on Oregon. Going into an attacking half doesn't happen. Very rarely does that happen. It's been very one-sided to the attack at the moment. So Leftovers, they need this next round. I mentioned that Leftovers cannot allow Parabellum to get momentum. Unfortunately, Parabellum have momentum.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult now for Leftovers to start picking up these pieces. You know, typically, if you see a team repeatedly go down to one side or repeatedly go to one side, they're going to be coming up with radically different ideas. You know, they're thinking, you know, gunfights didn't go our way. We can do this better. We can do that better. We can avoid that unnecessary death there. There's not even been a roam presence attempted here from Leftovers. Not that I think that that's necessarily the answer, but it just doesn't seem like they're willing to try things right now. They're just hemming themselves in, giving the entire map over to Parabellum. And as such, Parabellum aren't suffering for time when push comes to shove. Kool-Aid going to now try and open up a little bit of a line of sight here. Just give himself something onto that Shaiko spot. Gunner already in position, ready to fight anybody. You can't peek that. Filthy, if you peek that, you really, really oughtn't, because Gunnar knows exactly that you're there. Nade going to come through. Toxic Babe canister just to buy him a little bit of time. Parabellum is circling Demo.
Just waiting for an opportunity, looking for, I think, for that first nade kill more than likely, Ollie. And then they'll kind of go for it. Kool-Aid does get swung, the Jaeger. Trying his best, Maxley. We know he's known for playing that position. Gunnar will enter in with the think, but no, Adapt gets 2 kills. Oh, is that a team kill? No, Maxley's been able to kill Penguin. What's happened? I don't know, Ollie, but it seems to be Leftovers have came out on top after those engagements, but then Kool-Aid just goes for a swing into a 2 versus 2, 30 seconds to go. This could go any which way. Who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be Parabellum? Kool-Aid looking for the plant. All pressure, and Gunnar has to get this cover. Somebody is gonna be swinging in from blue. Gunnar knows that. There's gonna be information. Kool-Aid comes off the diffuser. But then look at Adapt, he just goes straight back over towards Shaiko. This is so close, I don't know who's gonna be the first man down. It's Dexter who strikes. Kool-Aid now on the 1 versus 2, but he gets picked off. Adapt is there in the swing around. Leftovers, they hold on. What's going on?
It was a fairly messy round, wasn't it? It all started around Pillar and Harry Potter. We see Kool-Aid hop over here. He was anticipating someone to be there. Puts the shots in. It was actually the Razor Bloom that picked up one of those kills there. Kool-Aid obviously didn't help matters, but it's likely that the attacker was dead to rights anyway. For all the information that Parabellum had, they didn't know that someone was playing hard right of those stairs, which is a little bit of an oversight, really. Gunnar also suffered. He wasn't able to make that rotation in quickly enough. Smoke did a fantastic job of cutting Gunnar out of that entire fight. If Gunnar's allowed to cross there, he's allowed to get a challenge onto elbow, or better yet, push in through Shaiko door, it's an entirely different story. And Smoke did a great job of cutting off that access. Good time to get around for Leftovers. Gives them a little bit of something to work with, bit of light at the end of the tunnel as they switch sides.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's something that Parabellum and I have to think about is, okay, we dropped that round to Leftovers. They're going to be feeling a bit of momentum now, aren't they? Thinking, okay, it's not as bad as what it could have been. We can still try something. So Parabellum, I think, still need to be on their toes. But typically, this next round's going to decide things, Ollie. Whenever you see a 4-2 split, there's a big difference between going into a 4-3 and a 5-2.
Yeah, there really is. That's when things can start to get extremely difficult. Parabellum is going to choose to go downstairs to open things up here. They've actually opted for the Cade. No Maverick being brought from Leftovers. Of course, they do have 6 picks. So that's an active choice to not bring it. Obviously, that's given that they've seen the Cade or the Electrical or any indication that there could be. Again, no real roam game present. Parabellum equally happy to sit back into the site. A couple of key differences, though, is they've actually brought the Goyo this time. That's great for area denial. They're really going to be able to buy themselves a lot of time with that.
It's all about the time, isn't it? That's what it comes down to, and we've seen teams have struggled in the past with just playing around that clock. It's always going to be the biggest enemy for the attackers. And the more that you can waste, the better it's going to be. So we come. Habana start opening up the hatches, no problem whatsoever. However, that seems to be a bit of an issue. Need to see if they can get down and get that Kaid Claw eliminated. This is the issue, we're not bringing the Maverick. This is the issue. Whenever Kaid's open, you need to bring the Maverick. We've seen Parabellum, they brought it every single round. Looks as if they've dealt with it quite well. Maybe it was that Twitch drone I think they've been able to deal that with.
Shock Drone is going to be looking into sight to see what they can do. Just managed to burn a Goyo pocket as well, which is, of course, great value.
Yeah, it is.
Burn comes through. Toxic Babe canister to deny any initial push, but a nade off the back of it. Gunnar going to shut Filthy down. Caught himself out there on a little bit of a roam, and Filthy was on the stairs in between him and the site. Filthy really not anticipating anything like that, especially with the hatch being open. You wouldn't expect somebody to be coming from that direction. Butters trying to take up that important mantle on those rear stairs. A lot of info gathered there from Dexter. Still has a couple of nades as well, so we could try and make good on that. Blaz shuts Maxley down. No more Finker Stims, no more big old LMG putting in the damage. Gunner finds a second and a third pistol to take Dexter down. Information or not, Dexter will fall. Butters, 1v5, 11 seconds. I'm an optimist, but I don't fancy your chances here. Picks himself up 1, 2, and 3. Butters, excuse me. If you had another 10 seconds, I'd be extremely excited now, but the clock is likely going to pitter out. Not before Esker picks up that final kill and collects. Moment of excitement, a brief moment of hope for Leftovers, but it was a big, big old long shot.
Oof. Just seemed to line up for him there, but doesn't matter. Not really. Still didn't win the round. Only padding the stats at the end of the day. 5-2. Big old gap now between Leftovers and Parabellum. 2 more rounds is all Parabellum need to win this series and move on to tomorrow's grand final against Space Station. We head to Meeting Hall and Kitchen, Ollie. Not upstairs the kids, which is probably what everyone was expecting.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
We go to meeting.
You got to expect the unexpected, Demo. I don't think Leftovers are going to be too bowled over. They've got much bigger fish to fry than the bomb site that they're going to be attacking onto. You can see Butters going to 6 out from the 0 onto the sledge. Trade off a little bit of that information for a lot of soft destruction.
10 seconds to go.
Parabellum. What a bounce back they've had, Demo. You think back to this team on Chalet?
5 seconds.
It was looking like it was going to be a super quick series. There's no one stepping up.
Attackers are heading out.
Chins were down. People with few to no kills. Now look at them.
They've rallied.
Almost the Blaz. It was the Blaz show on Kafe. It's the Gunner show here in Oregon.
It's working for them. So Parabellum. All the control is on to you right now. Gunner looking for a bit of a peek there. Maxley will come into an engagement against Esker, who's on that Melusi, looking for some opening engagements. Ooh. Has to be careful there, Maxley. There's a lot of bullets being hit towards them. Are they aware that Blaz is also lurking inside a dining? I think they are. They've spotted him out. They've got the drone on him. An impact gets tossed. A real grenade gets tossed back at him. Gurumine in the foot. Maxley, he's just... Look what's being thrown at him, Ollie.
Things are going from bad to worse for him, aren't they? Butters, he's going to pick up 2 kills. Esker finds an opener.
Both the roamers.
Hard breacher down. Penguin's going to be all the way inside a laundry. Could look to make a rotation here. Not entirely sure how Maxley's been allowed to survive there. He was seemingly under so much pressure. Everything has since dissipated around him. Butters can now look to try and open up some of these lines of sight. Give his teammates something to work from. Or entirely ignoring meeting for the time being. They've not really got any great options here, given that they've lost the hard breacher, but picking off Gunner is always going to be a good thing. Still 2 versus 4, though, and they've got a lot to do. Single doorways are all that really needs to be watched here. Obviously, we do have Maverick, so a blowtorch hole can be made, but that's a little bit more of a slower process. Nade's now getting sent on in as Kool-Aid tries to cut off players from pushing in. Draws for the shotgun, but can't find the second. Penguin, he doesn't know that there's somebody just inside of Showers Hall, and that somebody is Maxley. For all the pressure that he came under, did a great job of keeping himself alive and positioning himself nicely to pick up that final kill.
There was barely any gameplay around the bomb site, Ollie. Hardly any. You look at Leftovers and how they attacked that. All of them just came in from Small Tower, and that was it. Nobody upstairs. Nobody trying to apply pressure from Big Tower. Just one direction. And Parabellum just couldn't get the kills to back it up.
It was strange in that Parabellum were very split up. You know, we had Penguin downstairs. They were obviously anticipating and playing for the classic C4 through the hatch in meeting. But whenever meeting isn't attacked and you just go for a very horizontal approach into kitchen, realistically, what do? not a lot you can do. You've just got to try and fight back from that as best you can. There wasn't a lot of vertical prep done. There wasn't a significant vertical hold from Parabellum. By all accounts, a little bit of a strange round. Parabellum head to, I'm not going to say more familiar territory, but a more common second choice bomb site, maybe a better way of wording it. They're going to go to the top floor. They don't want to give leftovers a chance to get back in this game. 4-5 starts to look pretty reasonable.
Ready to go now as we head in for round 9. So obviously, leftovers not wanting to play too aggressive. I think they have to keep in mind still who they're up against. Blaz could be lurking at any corner or any doorway in this scenario. Gunnar, who, like we mentioned before, is playing very, very well. So I still think that level of patience needs to be there from leftovers, you know, that discipline. See, Blaz, he has an idea that somebody's looking to come in for the top of Big Tower, and Maxley will do a bit of the drone work. Blaz may be looking for the run out. It will be perfect timing if he goes now. Could maybe catch Maxley by surprise, who is looking elsewhere. He just isn't going to happen. Instead, Penguin's going to come over, try and open up some lines of sight for him. Stops that swing coming in. Lars, he's been very by himself, isn't he? While he's just on that note, crouch walking around, seeing what he can find.
Adapt, trying his luck, just opening up that barricade. By all accounts, a fairly slow approach here from leftovers. Losing Dexter fairly early on is going to limit this vertical nade play that they can do, but fortunately, Butters and Maxley still have a couple of nades in pocket, and Filthy for that matter, if he gets into position for to use them. As the Maverick, his attentions are likely going to be elsewhere, more notably getting open this attic wall. It's going to be on Butters to try and do damage from below. He's only going to achieve a bit of chip damage. As Filthy starts to go to work. This is, of course, being telegraphed. Blaz on the flank as well. The flank cover demo. It's not there. You'd be fuming. Blaz picks up 2. Excuse me. He should never get away with that. Butters tries to steady the ship.
He almost
gets the refrag. That is too little too late, I'm afraid.
Yeah, just need to be ready for that. Blaz has been kicking about Big Tower for ages. And to see leftovers fall into that trap, it's going to cost them a round. Surely it's going to cost them a round. A 2 versus 4. Adapt all by himself outside double window. I mean, Butters, look at his HP. What help is he realistically going to be at this stage? In 20 seconds, those Toxic Babes are still up and about. And try and cut things off. And yep, there's the plunge. An easy kill. And Butters, well, he dies to the smoke canister. Parabellum, another solid round, and that puts him on match point.
Match and series point for Parabellum. It's going to feel pretty good. Getting closer and closer to booking themselves a seat with SSG tomorrow in what will be a rematch. A rematch that was a 2-1 SSG win. Got to get it over the line here first, though. 3 chances before we start thinking about an overtime. And they're able to head downstairs into the basement. It's been a kind sight so far for Parabellum. Leftovers not having the same prowess in terms of utility usage and time management that we saw Parabellum have here on Oregon, at least. The info game for Parabellum tonight has been extremely good on attack. Not that it's been terrible for leftovers. But I'm starting to get concerned, Demo. I'm seeing a 3-player repick, and I'm not too keen on what it's being repicked into. We've kept the Finker. Maxley's giving that up, giving it over to Butters. Problems are going to be the Blitz and the Ying. We could be in for a quick one here, Demo, if this does go through as a rush round.
Leftovers, you need to have a good plan if this is what you're going for. This is the make or break. A lot of things can go wrong if communication and timing is not correct with these operators that you've chosen. Parabellum. I mean, they have the Warden, so realistically the Ying should not be an issue for them. And Gunner, if he can play the Warden as well as what he did in Kafe, Ollie, there'll be no issues here.
Yeah, Warden is becoming increasingly more popular, especially with the slight adjustment to the way that flashbangs work. It's nice to see as well, because I think it's a great idea being able to bring that. Blaz kicks things off with a kill onto the Maverick.
They can't open the hatch.
When that's your only heart breach, it becomes a bit of a problem.
There's no way they can win this round now. No hatches being opened. They're forced into choke points, either down the freezer stairs, down laundry stairs, down the back stairs, or in free blue, all of which can be held from multiple different angles. Oh, what a blunder by Leftovers, and I really don't know how they're going to force a way through this. They just have to brute force it. That's all they can do.
Well, they're going to have to try. Maxley, he's already taken control of Elbow. He's got Adapt on his shoulder. Shots start to come on through, but it's going to be Kool-Aid to find the all-important kill over onto the Ying. He eventually gets flashed out and taken out as a trade. Gunner left as the sole survivor.
What?
Not going to be able to do it. The collapse from Leftovers was sufficient. They recognized, hey, we might have lost our Maverick, but we have not lost the element of surprise. We're just going to shift W into this site, pick up all the kills as they go. They're able to hang in there for one more round.
How? How?
It was almost as good as BDS takes that.
They should never be losing that round in that position. You've picked off the Maverick, the only person who can get through that electrical hatch. Surely then Parabellum have to realize, okay, you know, Blaz he's picked off the Maverick, they can't open hatch. You just play anchor for your life.
Attackers need to
and they just get outgunned.
I mean, at that point, you could even pocket reinforce. If they had a pocket reinforcement, I don't recall seeing it.
There was no utility used either, Ollie. It was literally just an LMG.
Yeah. A couple of Ying flashes and an LMG. Leftovers, they're going to go for it again. Surely it doesn't work twice, Demo.
Oh.
Please don't let it work twice.
I don't know.
Just the fact that you bring in one hard breacher and that it's a Maverick is enough of a red flag for me. Now, granted, Cade's there, but Leftovers have run Twitch every single time. They've been pretty successful with the shock drone. Dexter's got the street racing moves on that thing. He can get it in and around. Goodness, it's happening again, isn't it?
Right. I'm open to suggestions. Let's see.
It's the best suggestion at the moment.
Just how's this game gonna go? Suggest that.
I love how Parabellum is still challenging early. Like, Blaz just can't keep himself away. As soon as he hears a window go, he's there.
He's just there? Yep. Here's a sniff for a flank. He's there. And you look at the operator he's playing, it's not an operator that you want to toss away early in the game.
No, definitely not.
So am I. And in a very heavy utility meta, with, you know, Ying's obviously being a lot more frequent, nades naturally being always brought into the lineup, you want to keep those discs coming as much as you can.
Well, at least Filthy's going to be able to get the hatch open this time, it looks like. So we're going to get to see the full plan here from Leftovers, not just how they can salvage something.
Slightly worried.
Really key shields as well.
Look where the smoke is. The smoke isn't behind the elbow shield. That means that they have nothing to stop Maxley just walking in. So I think Blaz could be in for a real world of hurt. Just little moments like that. Maybe they want to bring the smoke close to the pillar, so you maybe smoke off the stairs or smoke off the electrical hatch. Maybe that's their thinking, but I think if you lose elbow, everything else just falls at that stage.
Butters hits that adrenal surge. The smoke is going to be enough to stop whatever push was being planned there, but you know that it is imminent. Drones being flicked as everything needs to be just right for this to go off. First nade going to get caught out inside of a Wamai. Never ideal. Dexter going to be playing backstairs. He hasn't got nades as Twitch. Will be juiced up after taking a little bit of damage. We're starting to see the Candelas come through, but Maxley is taking a huge chunk of damage. Blaz is going to look for that as a challenge. Filthy. First fall. Gunner picks himself up too. Dexter, he's going to be left as one of the last alive, along with Maxley. Maxley is fighting back, though. They're able to somewhat level this out, but it is a little too late. Maxley, blitz, pistol, shield, nothing he can do. Gunner, he's there to shut him down, activates the glasses, happy to swing on. It's going to be GG for Parabellum. They are going to take it here on Oregon, and they are going to confirm that rematch with SSG tomorrow.
Well, Parabellum, it took them a while to close it out. A good old fight from leftovers, but still Parabellum will reign supreme. What a close game. I mean, Oregon was just so back and forth. I had no idea how those rounds were going to end up. But yeah, all credit to Parabellum. They proceed.
And I think it's the fair result. You know, we saw a fantastic leftovers in that first game. Chalet, they really set everything alight, and they kind of made everybody doubt themselves. You know, we were doubting ourselves a little bit. The desk was doubting themselves a little bit because we were billing this as, you know, Parabellum should be fairly comfortable here. It just took them a map to wake up, is the crux of it, because Kafe, they were electric, and Oregon, they did what they needed to do to get the job done. A fantastic attacking phase, giving themselves a nice big buffer when it came to those defending rounds, which isn't usually the way around that it goes on Oregon. But a fantastic result there for Parabellum. They're going to be pleased with that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see now how tomorrow goes, because SSG versus Parabellum in a best of 5. It's going to be good. Naturally, I think SSG have to be the favorites going into that one. But who knows? Maybe Parabellum, if we can see some of the top tier performances that we've seen today, you know, Gunner, I think, during there in Oregon, what a performance. If they can start getting those players showing up, hey, they could have SSG tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to covering it with you, Demo. We're going to be back tomorrow for that game. But before then, there is still plenty of seeds. We're going to throw it back to our wonderful desk filled with some of my favorite people. Jackie, Jesse, Jess, take it away.
Aw, Ollie and Demo, you're two of our favorite people. We adore you, and fantabulous job casting today. Amazing as always. Okay, we gotta talk about Parabellum taking down leftovers, though. Leftovers eliminated. RIP. You know, Jesse, you said Parabellum is strong on Oregon, and they turned up. Why are you giggling, Jess?
No, I'm giggling because it just sounded like you were like, all right, rest in peace, like, you know, like that see you later kind of thing, and I was like, damn.
No, I do feel bad. They put up a decent fight. Like that first map, I was like, okay, but yeah.
First map and third as well. I think they did play, you know, some decent rounds on Oregon. I think it was a really rough start with Parabellum getting 4 attacking rounds in a row. The Monty play coming forward from Penguin did a lot of work, and it didn't feel like Leftovers got an answer to it for a really long time. Then we swapped sides. Again, it was pretty back and forth. I like that Leftovers kind of tried to do their own thing with the shields. They brought in the Blitz, they brought in the Ying, and it worked once on Laundry back in around 10, but unfortunately switching to Warden was the thing that would counter that, and Gunner did that perfectly well. So overall, great game from Parabellum. They managed to advance on into the finals, and that should be a very fun game tomorrow.
And we
don't have MVPs, Jackie, for the games, but I wanted to give one for this game because I really felt like there was like a standout MVP or MVT. Most valuable thing in the match. Okay. And I think that was the LMG. I think we absolutely have to put that on a pedestal on the echelon that it deserves to be on at the moment because it was wielded well. A lot of people are talking that it's OP. It absolutely is. I mean, the fact that Gunner can walk into Freezer holding down mouse 1, miss the first 35 bullets, but still gets an opportunity to readjust and be able to, you know, engage in that fight and then win it, I think is a little bit ridiculous, but I think there's people who utilize it well, and Gunner is one of them. He was, you know, if there was an MVP, he would be on the top there for me outside of the LMG.
Okay, and we just had the NA bracket up, so I do want us to kind of go through what we saw today here. So let's do the EU bracket, and Jess, I'll put you in the hot seat for that one.
Sure,
so that was Rogue defeating Victus.
Yeah, that was one of those games where if Rogue hadn't have beat Invictus, there would have been question marks about whether or not, they were putting up the performance we would expect of a Tier 1 team. There was a tweet that was put out, I believe, by Leon after that match that you see in the lower finals there, and he said that if Invictus, don't make, Challenger League or Tier 1 soon, then he just thinks that's insane. So I agree. I absolutely agree. I think Victus has played an excellent, really good fundamental siege from top to bottom. Attacking well is very difficult as an individual, let alone as a team, and I think that they've done that really well. So whilst they might be knocked out, we saw so many good things, but Wild and Rogue, they get that one map advantage. That's why you see it 1-0 currently. Whoever goes in the grand finals with the upper bracket will take that one map advantage. So Rogue will quote-unquote fight from behind, but they should still be the favorites, albeit it is a revenge grudge match. It's Corey, it's Aces. I mean, these guys will want to absolutely paint the walls with Rogue because they've got a little bit of a story to tell, I think.
Yeah. And let's talk about Latam a little bit, Jesse. FaZe taking down Escalina.
Yeah, and I mean, Jess just spent some time hyping up the third place team in Europe. I'd like to do the same here in Latin America. Obviously, Boo Boo's school, aka Escolina de Boo Boo, falling to FaZe Clan and maybe a man they didn't like. It wasn't the closest game that we saw, but I still firmly believe that this is by far the best team in Tier 2 of Brazil right now. There's a lot of really talented players on that lineup that I think have been growing quite a bit so far throughout the Tier 2 scene in Brazil, and then this term as well. I think they've proven a lot in both their series against FaZe Clan. So really happy with their performance overall, but it is the favorites we expect to see in the grand finals, MIBR and FaZe Clan. This is an SI rematch. These teams have played against each other so often, and although it is MIBR in through the upper bracket, typically FaZe Clan has the edge in that matchup. So we'll have to wait and see tomorrow who comes out on top for the grand prize in the tournament.
Yes. So we had a ton of great matchups today, but as we've been saying, the grand finals for these regions tomorrow. So let's roll up the schedule here. You do not want to miss this. Rogue versus Wild for EU. For Latam, the 6 invitational rematches, Jesse was saying. FaZe versus MIBR. And then we got NA, SSG versus PB. So make sure you write down those times on your calendar. So, because I have been all messed up with my time.
Yes. Oh, that's why the times are a little different, right? They're all best of 5 grand finals. And the reason I want to highlight that is shout out to Jacob, who did swap the last game with me. I'll work the LATAM game. I'll work the first 2 games. He'll work the NA finals with your man Jesse, so that I'm not up at 2 a.m. for a best of 5, which that one could go the distance as we were just talking about. So if you are in EU, look at those CSTs and do note that they are all best of 5s with 1 map advantage. That's something I didn't click in my brain as to why all the times were different. I'm like, it's because we got a best of 5. I'm looking forward to it. I'd also like to know, and I don't know if production in our ears can tell us, is it infinite OT on the maps, or are we going to cap it? Are we going to cap these OTs? I mean, I'm curious because we don't get infinite OTs very often in Siege.
That's true.
It won't be, I believe. I think, yes, the production confirmed that it won't be infinite OT because, of course, we still have to stick to that fixed schedule that you just saw. So, yes.
Okay. Best of 5s, y'all. Who knows how that'll end? So I definitely want to say thank you to Jess and Jesse. Y'all are fantastic as always. A big thank you to all of the talent. Yeah, bring them back on here, B-Boop. Look at those beautiful faces. I love you too. You're 2 of my favorites, and Ollie and Demo and all the talent. Y'all are fantabulous. And also, I do want to say thank you to everyone behind the scenes. Y'all have been working so hard. And of course, we got to say thank you to everybody watching at home. We are just so deeply appreciative of you. We love the Siege fam so much. So, y'all, we'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget, grand finals. See you later. B-Boop, shut it down.